Good to go. All right, welcome everyone. This is a meeting in the Village of Sherwood Hills Board of Trustees. Tonight is Tuesday, April 21st. It is 6:06 p.m. We just had a great shared dialogue on trust and community put on by the League of Wisconsin Municipalities, and look forward to working with them again next Tuesday as a body. We'll call the meeting to order, and item 1A, oath of office for recently elected village trustees from the April 7th, 2026 election. Taylor, are you leading that, or Julie? How would you like to handle?
Let's see here. I believe I am reading that. Pardon the difficulties of getting me set up.
Yeah, no worries.
Let me get that guys. In the meantime, I'll hand these out. How's that?
Okay.
Okay, so what I have in front of me here are the oaths of office for our new trustees. And we're gonna need you to sign these and return them, but we'll give you a copy. Okay. So there's your oath. This one is yours, Keith, Brian.
Thank you.
And then this is the civility pledge because you were new. We don't have one on file for you. And Rocky. So here's the civility pledge. We'll do that signed and returned. Here's your oath of office. We're going to be doing this verbally, but for right now, if you can sign it and return it to us, we'll get you a copy when it's off us. And then I have Harold's oath.
So I'm unable to get on the network.
What do you need to do?
The agenda.
Did you print it now? I'll see very fast. You might have to have them read it.
Pardon, there are more technical difficulties. I'm unable to access the agenda from this computer. So Julie's gonna print that out.
Okay.
I don't know if we want to go out of order.
Are you able to do the oath? Do you have the oath in front of you? Each member has a oath, correct?
Yes.
Do we need to read it and state it? What happens to the?
For the oath, I'll just ask everybody to raise their right hand.
Yep.
And try to read together. So it'd be whatever's in front of you there that Julie handed out.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
So like 1, 2, 3. I, Carol Marshall, have been duly elected to the office of village trustee in and for the village of Sherwood Hills.
Do solemnly
Swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of village trustee to the best of my ability.
You know, that's the hardest part about being trustee. It only gets easier from there.
Is that it? I'm all sworn in now. That's the official thing.
Congratulations.
All right. So that means I'm gonna start out then, if I may, just exercising new guy prerogative, because the next thing that comes up in the agenda is pro tem, right? And with pro tem, the village board gets to make that. So I would, I understand that there's been some discussion about it being Carol. Now, Carol's nothing personal, but I would very much like to nominate, for the spirit of healing things and bringing it together, to nominate Shabnam as pro tem.
So, Taylor, are you ready to move forward on the agenda?
Yes, I am.
How come I don't have the agenda that you guys have? This is the agenda that's on the website?
That's the agenda that shows.
I don't have that. I wonder what made no sense.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so, I was prepared to appoint, for President Pro Tem Carol, because, she got the most votes. Obviously, in this past election, you know, obviously the gender balance was important to me. And I really value her perspective on what a stabilizing path looks like in practice, particularly around communication norms and supporting staff. And so that's, you know, it's my prerogative to advance the President Pro Tem position.
Can you tell us where you get that prerogative
Hold
from?
on, why are we even doing this? Let's get out of order. And first, don't you have a paper to give to him?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Thank
Get that first, all right?
Yeah.
Then let's set up the agenda.
The approval of the agenda is item 3.
Yep, this is the way that he had it structured. The only way to have this discussion, Rocky, was to do it that particular way. Use the interruption.
Sure.
So, John,
Brian, you haven't been recognized on this, so
Well, then how do we do this, get this out of order? We want to take the agenda out of order. We want to get this, we want to get the agenda adjusted and move things to the top. Pro tem can wait, other things can wait. What he just handed out should go first. Do we make a motion to adjust the agenda?
We haven't done roll call yet.
Then let's do roll call. And then we'll move the agenda, and then we'll go to what Brian just handed out.
we're gonna follow the order that is
John.
here.
We're not, there's gotta be a way.
Rocky, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to take a pause and we're gonna maintain decorum in this meeting. When you want to speak, you'll let me know that you want to speak and I'll recognize you. So the order of the agenda is the oath of office, the appointment of the President Pro Tem. I have advanced, it certainly is my right as village president to advance who I want to serve as President Pro Tem. Is there a second to that motion?
Wait, I have a question. Brian already made a motion. Kate has seconded. You're saying it's your prerogative. Can you tell us where you get the authority and why it's your prerogative? Under chapter 1 in the ordinances, it says the village board shall appoint President Pro Tem. It does not give authority to the president. It's not in chapter 2 or chapter 1. So if you would like that prerogative, you just have to tell us where you get that prerogative from.
and John, this is the reason for it. So believe it or not, this is actually an attempt to get to a point of civility where you two and the acrimony that's been registered goes away a little bit, in that we want to see not you dictating where that goes with what you want to do, but instead have the body make those decisions, right? And this is an effort to have the body make that decision. So that has nothing to do with Carol. I'm a fan of Carol, but it does have to do with that being your choice and knowing that you are going to come, assuming that you were able to do that without any written authority that I'm able to find in code.
So I don't know if our village attorney is here yet, but I've been on this board for 14 years and this is how we've done it as a body.
Doesn't matter.
Sorry, you're not recognized, Rocky. Carol?
I mean, I assume that appointment of pro tem is like all the other appointments, the president advances his appointments, but the board has to approve. So if the board doesn't approve, then we have to find somebody else. So I think it's probably an appropriate motion.
There's already a motion on the table, though.
That's the appropriate motion. Brian's. It's a fine motion.
Hey,
I'm just sharing my screen so people can see the language in our ordinances. I don't know if that's too.
so what's the consensus of the board? Mark? And then I'll recognize Ryan.
Well, I'm just looking at the ordinances, and it says basically, the village board at its April meeting following the regular spring election shall appoint from its members the president pro tem for a term of 1 year. So that's what the ordinance says. So that's what I'm gonna follow. It's true that past precedent has had that appointment come initially made by the village president and having to be confirmed by the board. But strictly speaking, I don't see anything in the ordinance that says that the board can't make any appointment. So in the absence of specific direction, I'd be inclined to say that the appointment could come from the board. Seems to me.
Rocky?
Let's call a vote.
Well, yeah, I think we should vote on Brian's motion, yes?
Okay. Any further discussion? Ready to vote? All those in favor of Brian's motion, seconded by Kate, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Congratulations, Shabna.
Thanks.
All right, item 2, roll call.
All right. Barker,
Here,
Letterer,
Here,
Lutfi,
Here,
Olsik,
Here,
Bushtig,
Here,
Van Aston,
Yep.
Hines.
Present.
President, we have quorum.
Thanks for that. Item 3, approval of the agenda. We have a motion. Mark?
I'll make a motion to move item 7D5 to 9B and thereafter approve the agenda. So just by way of clarification, 7D5 is on the second page of the agenda, discussion, possible action, revisions to chapters 1 and 2. And moving it to 9B, we'll place it after discussion, possible action regarding annual appointments.
Okay, so second to that motion, Carol? Thanks for that. For discussion,
I would like to actually
Brian?
propose an alternate motion. So how does that work? Do we vote first on Mark's, or do I read what my alternate one is?
Could ask him if he'd amend his motion.
so this is for discussion. You can tell us your thoughts and what you would like.
Okay, good, thanks. I'm not still trying to.
Oh,
find
that's
my
all
way
right.
around.
No worries.
All right, so I move that we postpone to the May meeting items 5, 73, 74, 76, 78, 9A.
I gotta write that down.
Yeah,
All right,
can you say that again?
so I'll say it again. 5, 73, 74, 76, 78, and 9A to the May 19th meeting. And the reason for this is several. One, item 5, from what I can tell, isn't necessary, right? A procedural instruction. We're not gonna move anything forward from that tonight. I don't see why that is even in the, I didn't see any supplemental materials attached to it. I don't know what that is. I don't see why we should take our time to keep it there.
Carol, why don't you?
Jack,
Yeah, go ahead.
It's for the people watching. It's so
Yeah.
that people watching the meeting, either in person or online, know how to participate.
Okay, well then, Doug, I will amend my motion to leave 5 in that. That's all that is. Next, the capital, TID, facilities, and strategic plan items are all related, okay? Trustee Shabnam Wafdi submitted a proposal to pause those capital discussions that wasn't included today to look at alternately looking at the pool and make sure that that was considered. And that wasn't included in this agenda, right? I've also submitted an item for May to review and amend the strategic plan to direct the planning commission to look at opening up potentially developing garden homes. The strategic plan conversation, absent that, also doesn't seem to make sense. These are all items that we can't discuss today because they're not on the agenda. So it makes sense to me to move all of those items to May when they can be discussed in a unified fashion with everybody's proposals or things ready for consideration in place so that those discussions can be had versus doing it piecemeal. And on the appointments, not all the trusted parties participated. And then, so Rocky, for example, didn't fill it out. Prior expectations would follow. John, you submitted an entirely different slate. And for those reasons, I think that it could directly impact those discussions. And I move that all those items just go to May and we'll discuss it when we get there.
Mark, is that a friendly
I'm gonna
amendment?
Keep my motion the way it is. I think there's nothing that requires the board to decide any of these issues tonight. But I think they're all issues worth talking about, if only some of them briefly, giving trustees an opportunity to ask questions, to make requests of Brian for follow-up and the like. So I think we ought to sort of move through this agenda. And we'll come out wherever we come out, and whatever we can't resolve tonight, we'll pick it up in May.
Shabnam and then Rocky.
I just want to add that when a motion is made and it's on the floor, the board owns the motion. We always do this where we go to the person who made the motion and ask if they'll allow an amendment to it. And that's not the proper procedure. So what we can continue talking, but at some point, what Brian needs to do is say, I motion to amend the motion. And if that passes, then the motion has been amended.
Right, motion to amend the motion to postpone 7D3.
I second his amend.
Okay, hold on.
amended motion.
7D8 and 9A.
Okay, so Brian, you are motioning to amend the motion. And can you give those agenda items again? And then Carol, did you want to be recognized on this?
I guess given the opportunity, I will just say that, if we wait every board meeting to have everything in perfect order to knock it out, we'll never get anything done. I agree with Mark's opinion. I also think that if we don't make our appointments tonight, we're in violation of the ordinance. And our committees, regarding the committees, and our committees need a real shot in the arm to get going again, because so many committees have been in stasis for months. So I'm really in favor of doing the work that we can do tonight, including the appointments, which are not as far away from the ranked choice voting results as you would think. And I'd be happy to elaborate on that when we get to that, item.
Rocky?
So we have an amendment here. I seconded it. All right. I think we should take the vote on that. That's the amendment that you have to adjust the schedule. So basically adjusting his motion to more moving items. Move everything off to the next board. The only thing I would like to ask you, if it would be the next board meeting, not necessarily the May 19th meeting. The next board meeting. Would we do that?
Depending upon which items they are, I would be amenable to doing that.
Thank you.
Makes sense.
Julie?
I just wanted to point out that, in our ordinance, the terms for committees do begin on May 1st.
So may I speak to that for a moment since it's my motion?
Julie, did you have anything else you want to say about that?
I just wanted to point, so like if we don't, terms do end, I believe people will I have to check. I wasn't expecting this to happen, so I didn't double check.
Yeah.
But our ordinance, because our ordinance does say that the new terms begin on May 1st, and the old, people who were up, their terms end, obviously, at the same time. And I know committees are slightly on hold at the moment. However, I don't know if it's beneficial because we do have several that are complete vacancies. And I hope one of them isn't the Board of Review. I don't know without looking right now, but Board of Review will be meeting, and I'm hesitant to have a pause on that one. Because that is also statutorily required and already scheduled.
So now may I?
Go ahead, Brian.
So two things. First, I agree that it says that their term starts May first, but there's actually no ordinance requirement that it be staffed at that time. If if it misses it by a couple of weeks, that means that it may be that they have to meet in the later part of May. Earlier, the first couple of weeks of May might get lost while we make sure that we get it right accurately. Second thing is, Rocky just suggested that that's the next board meeting. Separate from this, Rocky and I have submitted another board meeting proposal that has a requested date of May first. If that were hit, it could be piggybacked on the backside of that. So, so that those two things are not mutually exclusive. It's still potentially if the May first is hit.
Carol?
Question, how do we anticipate fixing the committee appointments between now and May first?
That's a great question because I'm not quite sure from an open records perspective how we all discuss it without discussing results, like we're going to approve them here. Problem is all of that, what's contained here in fixing the process is that, I mean, that's a great question. Rocky participating in it for one, so that we actually had a full inclusion of the board members to get the right results would be a big first step in my opinion.
Carol, did you have anything you want to say on that?
If the board wants it that way, I can rerun the results anytime.
Taylor?
Just a note, particularly with border review, if the May meeting is the 19th, border review is the 21st, so it will be absolutely vital that appointments be made.
That's a reason.
So you have the amendment, right, on the next board meeting?
And then do we have the ZBA scheduled it out before that point?
And be the outcome of.
Okay,
So Rocky, would you be committing then to filling out the ranked choice voting worksheet?
Not the one I got, because I think it's incomplete. I think there's a lot missing.
Yeah, the name of the resumes that weren't in there, weren't in there, so.
I didn't, Kate and I were all through it.
Can I talk? From me going around the village, my understanding is that's incomplete. And I'd like to go out and ask people if they want to submit to that committee again. We can have a narrow timeline. We can say, you have 1 week to do it, a couple days to do it. And I'll sit down and help you do the ranked choice if you want. But from what I saw, that was a very incomplete list.
Carol?
So it was already established before the process that we would not be including any applications that were more than 2 years old. Some of those were listed in the packet, so that might be part of the discrepancy that you're seeing. But all valid applications, ones that were less than 2 years old, as of April 7th, which was the cutoff date, are in the ranking worksheet.
Thanks for that clarification, Mark.
I think we need to be careful here. We're starting to get into the substance of the issues.
Yep.
Rather than the agenda items themselves. So my feeling is we should vote on Brian's amendment to my motion. If it passes, we'll operate on that basis. If it fails, then my motion, I presume, is still on the table at that
That's right.
point.
That's right.
And we should vote on that motion and keep voting until we find an agenda that's acceptable to the majority.
Can Brian just repeat the motion? I was trying to write it down and I
Yep.
don't think I got all of it, what I'm
Yeah,
going
right.
to do.
So we're gonna keep 5. Postpone until May, the May meeting, the next May meeting, D3, D4, D6, D8, and 9A.
D3, D4, D6, D8, 9A.
So I have a clarifying
Okay,
question. Okay, so then Mark's original was moving something to be 9B. Right?
Yeah, my motion was to just move item D 7.5,
Yeah.
and just to move it to after
9A,
9A.
9A, yeah.
So we would still be discussed, but it would be after the discussion regarding the annual appointments by those that was present.
So if 9A is removed, then that would become 9B, but we'd have no A.
Oh, which,
Well, under my motion, we would do 9A, it wouldn't be removed. We're talking about two separate motions, so under my motion,
Okay,
everything on the agenda stays on the agenda. We just relocate the one item to behind the 9A appointments.
right, but if we're amending, if we now vote to amend your motion, right, is that? I'm just confused on how 9 will play.
Well, I guess that's a part, sorry to interrupt, I apologize.
Go ahead, Shabna.
The cleanest thing would be if Brian's motion addressed that motion.
There is no 9B. I'm looking at there is no 9B on the
It
list.
becomes a 9B.
Oh, I see.
It becomes 9B.
Just amend your motion, to remove all of 9. That-
9A is
No,
all.
no, 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 no. This is
Okay.
hard. This is hard stuff. I think
What is
If-
Mark's motion that he wants to?
Mark wants to move the revisions to the ordinances to be the last item on the agenda.
Not the last, but close to
The last item,
Yes.
which I would like to object to, because is there a reason that every time I bring a motion to this board, it's always the last one, an agenda item? Can you clarify for me why everything I bring is always last? What is the thought process for why this needs to be last, Mark?
It doesn't need to be last, but it needs to follow, in my thinking, it needs to follow the discussion and possible action regarding the annual appointments. The board previously agreed on a process to do appointments, ranked choice voting. We went through the process. We ought to see the result of that process before we go to the nuclear option, which is what I view changes to the ordinance, as opposed to just working through the existing ordinance and see if we can't reach a consensus.
But they're unrelated.
I'm not putting it last. It's only because appointments was
I'm not
last
gonna make
and
that
it
change.
needs to follow. I'm willing to move item 9A up in the agenda as long as the 7D5 follows 9A.
Well, then.
Okay, I tell you what, though, if this motion passes, though,
Can we recognize Taylor? Go ahead.
I mean, we could just move it to after 8F. To save us the language of.
so I want to make sure I understand Mark well. What Mark is saying to us is that his decision on that ordinance change would be influenced or impacted by the ranked choice voting. That if possibly the ranked choice voting, if it were to work, you may or may not support the ordinance. Is that what you're saying? You're saying that the ordinance change is related to the committee appointments.
Again, my concern here is we're getting into the substance.
Right.
And what we're really trying to do here is just figure out the order of the agenda.
Yeah.
So I told you why I
Okay,
reordered the
got it, got
agenda.
it.
And I just don't want to get into the substance
Here's-
until we get to
okay.
the item.
Shabna and then Rocky.
If this motion passes, it's a mute issue. It doesn't matter because the committees are not on the agenda. They wouldn't be related because the committee assignments are not on the agenda. If the motion passes, Mark's change is irrelevant. It doesn't make a difference. There is no 9A. If the motion passes, there is no 9A. There would be no reason for this to be a 9B. It would just stay where it is. If the motion doesn't pass, then we have to talk about it. Does that make sense?
Rocky?
I'd also like to say that what Shabnam's proposing, it cannot be approved today anyways, but it's important because we're trying to set how the new way things should be done, and that will change how appointments are made and clarify that appointments are done back to the system. So her thing can be talked about now or can be talked about in May, but to reorder it makes no sense to me. I like it where it is. And I do think all these other things, as I seconded, should be bumped to the next board meeting.
I want to call the motion.
Ready to vote on the motion?
On
Is it-
Brian's?
Yeah.
Is everyone-
On Brian's motion.
Yeah, does everyone understand the motion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. The motion carries. All right, Item 4, statement of public notice. Taylor and Julie just want to confirm, and Brian just want to confirm that the meeting was properly noticed.
Yes.
Say something about this.
On this issue, go ahead.
I am grateful and I appreciate that we have this statement of public notice. It's good that we do this, but I think that if somebody in the audience believes that the meeting was not properly noticed, they have to have an opportunity to say it. It can't just be, Brian, is it? Yes, and we move forward. So if somebody in the audience believes that this meeting was not properly noticed, you are given an opportunity to speak on that.
All right, and then item 5, procedures orientation. Just want to remind folks that this meeting is also being broadcast on the village's Facebook site, being broadcast live. And while it is being broadcast live, the board is not able to respond or review any comments contemporaneously. Any questions, any comments should be sent to our village administrator, Brian Mooney. Item 6, public comments. This is an opportunity for community members to speak to the board. No discussion or action may take place at this time. The trustees may ask clarifying questions only. Speakers may be limited to 3 minutes. I'd like to limit to 4 minutes. Once we hit 3 minutes, 30 seconds, I'll raise my hand and you should finish up your remarks. Taylor and Julie, you'll keep a close eye on the online to see if there's folks that wish to speak. And I think I'm ready to move on. Are there public comments this evening? Gloria.
Hi, I'm Gloria Beach, and I will keep myself to 4 minutes. Hi, everybody. So I want to say thank you to Rocky and Brian. Congratulations to you both for winning your positions as trustee. Thank you for having run very clean, very good campaigns with integrity. I really appreciate that. I got to meet your mom. So that was nice. But I just really want to say thank you and congratulations to both of you for the campaign that you wrote. I wasn't planning on making remarks, but somebody called me and asked me some questions about some of the minutes. And in reviewing the board package to be able to clarify articulate my thoughts on those minutes, I came across the January 20th meeting minutes. And item 6, I would actually ask that the board consider removing this from consent agenda tonight. The public comments portion of the January 20th, it says Gloria Beach appeared to speak about item 7C2 on the agenda not being explicit enough to accurately describe what will be discussed for the public. And to refresh your memory, item 7C2 was the Ehlers financial model results. And during the discussion for the Ehlers financial model results, not once what were the Ehlers financial model results discussed. Instead, what was discussed is removing the village municipal court from our village and combining that with potentially another municipal court. And I didn't think that that was an honest representation of the agenda. In fact, I thought most explicitly it was a violation of open meetings laws, because the agenda is supposed to be that anyone can come look at the agenda and understand what will be discussed without having to dig into the package. And instead, the Ehlers financial management was kind of like a placeholder. So it was like the agenda said, we're going to talk about apples, but instead we talked about oranges. And my recollection, to really drill into these minutes, my recollection was that at the January 20th meeting, that Trustee Barford made a motion that I agree that Trustee Lederer said, nope, it's not appropriate. And that was tabled. But I also remember that Trustee Basooner actually made the remark, and if he's here, maybe he can speak to this. But I recall the remark actually being made to Administrator Mooney to not pursue
the removal of our municipal court from our village. And time and again, I keep seeing this come up. And I just disagree with it. I think if Administrator Mooney, Brian, if you want to have the municipal court removed from our village, I think that that's valid, but I think that it should be an agenda item that anyone in the public can see that now we're going to talk about removing our municipal court, and that our court judge would be invited to maybe submit a memo or make her position on this subject known, and that people from the community would have the opportunity to come in and speak to that issue instead of thinking, in fact, we're going to talk about the Ayler's financial model. So anyway, congratulations, Brian. Congratulations, Rocky. Congratulations, Carol. And good luck.
Thank you, Gloria.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yep.
Gloria, are you saying you want the January 20th meeting minutes amended?
I think they're incorrect, but I'm not on the board. I just think that it should be removed from consent agenda so that the board can discuss this.
Okay, thank you.
Taylor?
We do have police, municipal judge. Hand raised.
Okay, Felice, you able to join us?
Yes, thank you very much. It's a little timely coming in after Gloria, but usually when I apologize, I've had the flu, so I don't have much voice. But usually after the elections, the municipal judge is also sworn in at this board meeting. It was not on the agenda, and because I've been sick, I didn't come in person, but I am willing to take my oath at this time if you have the oath available, and otherwise I will do it at my next municipal court.
I can certainly have you repeat after me if you would like. Otherwise, you can come in anytime to sign the statement.
I've signed the statement, if you recall. And
That
it's
was the pre
right.
office oath, and this is oath of office. The
Right.
pre-office
So
oath.
it's up to the board whether they want to continue the tradition of having the municipal judge sworn in at the board meeting. Otherwise, I can take care of it at when we next have court.
That sounds like a plan.
Do we want to do it now, or do you want her to?
Let's put it off. If please, if you don't need to do it right now, if you're comfortable with that, why don't we move forward?
Okay.
All right. Hope you feel better.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey everyone, Michael Van Lanningham, 2704 Harvard Drive. Just a clarifying question. Did you all pull off the kind of White Shore Boulevard from the agenda today for the community center? Or is that still, is that off or on? Sorry, I didn't have a little.
That was pulled off, I think.
Yes.
That's pulled off? Okay, cool. That takes care of one thing. I'm not gonna bother you guys about. The pool parking lot, is that on the agenda still, or is that pulled off? Pulled off, right? Not on your head? All right, cool. Not gonna bother you guys with that one. So I was just gonna say on the, and then the committee appointments, was that pulled off, right? Trustee Van Aston and trustee Lockbeats. That's pulled off for next time, right? Okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't have a thing to line it out. So, all right, so that takes care of most of that. I was just gonna say, this is not on the agenda, but I thought that trustee Van Aston had a good point in his email after the election about potentially putting public comment at the beginning. So like this, that's 3 minutes where I'm talking about something that's not on the agenda tonight. And then also doing inline public comment. The city of Madison does that. They have a sign up time ahead of time to do that. So I understand that that would probably require some administrative effort or more administrative effort. I don't want to characterize it. But I think that that would be helpful to center discussions or anchor trustee discussions. Again, Madison does it. They have the presiding officer. I think you sign up online. And if there's a way to sign up in person too, I think that could be helpful. And it would also help achieve that goal that I think we worked on last session of trying to keep people to 3 minutes. And then in Madison, again, you have 3 minutes per item. So in the beginning, I'm not sure if they do beginning comments like I'm taking your time right now, But they do 3 minutes per item. So if they have like ducks, cops, and firefighters on the agenda, you get 3 minutes for ducks, 3 minutes for cops, and 3 minutes for firefighters. But if you're talking about ducks and you start talking about firefighters, you got to stop. So, you know, again, to keep the meetings focused.
Do
So
we have a duck problem in the village I'm not aware of?
fortunately, yeah. So
Go ahead.
worse than you think. Anyway, so thanks for your time on that. I just think that that would be something to consider in the future. Sorry, yeah. Okay, I don't know who should
Well,
recognize.
sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Chuck.
Taylor wants to say
Yep.
something.
Yes.
I do show pool parking lot still on the agenda.
So
What
still.
do you want?
I thought did we miss that? This should have been in that list. I thought you said,
Yeah. I've got you.
One is on still.
Yeah.
One is on, it sounds like it is, so
Pool parking lot? Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Sorry, I don't want to use too much time. I was just gonna say, pool parking lot, awesome to redo things, especially if drainage is concerned. The only thing of caution to maybe try to discuss or bring out in your discussion of that would be like, if there is a serious intent on the part of the trustees to either rebuild the pool building or whatever, you're not going to discuss the community center today. But rebuilding a pool building might require a lot of heavy machinery on the parking lot. I know that doesn't really work with asphalt, not an engineer, but maybe something like if there's a real village board consensus to move forward with a building there, maybe at Shore Boulevard, maybe just like, let's lay off the parking lot for a little bit. Otherwise, you know, I agree with fixing things that are broken, but just something to think about in the future. Thanks for your time. That was too much.
Thanks, Michael. Johnny,
John Fagley, 1004 Yale Road. First, I want to congratulate 3 of you. That's democracy in progress. As I watched the beginning of the board meeting, it seems that there's a bit of a struggle with change, and that often happens. But you have to understand that from the perspective of the residents, we've kind of been stuck in the mud. So some of these issues have to be addressed. Our financial situation is untenable. And that's going to be some difficult conversations, but they have to be had if we're going to continue to be a village. And we can't avoid those. I mean, you can't just go along with what's been and think that's okay. Times change, and what we do and how we address the issues has to change. And I look forward to that conversation because I think some of those changes are not just important, but if we don't have them, we won't be a village. So I encourage you to all jump in and give everything you got to figuring this out, because these are issues. We can talk about civility, we can give awards, we can do a lot of little things, but the big issues, we can't just keep avoiding. We have to confront them, we have to deal with them, and we have to solve them. Thank you.
thanks, Johnny. Other public comments this evening? Kurt?
Hi, Kurt Hansen. I want to thank Bob and Dietmar, who I've both thanked personally for their service on the board. And if you didn't pass the resolution at your last meeting thanking them, I'd encourage you to do so. They gave a lot of volunteer time to our village, and we need to be grateful. I'd like to welcome both Brian and Rocky as the new trustees, and thank all of you for willing to be trustees. I truly appreciate you being here, because I don't want to be here.
We like you here.
Right, well, I'm happy to speak for a few minutes.
Yes.
I'd also like to thank all the people that volunteered on, this is the sheet that Carol and Kate worked on. We have more volunteers for every committee than we have slots. And I didn't volunteer for any committee, so again, I'm so grateful for all the people in our village that are willing to volunteer to help our village function. I think we should be grateful for that. I'm saving my most gratitude for Brian Mooney. If you guys are not all aware, if Brian had not been here in the last 6 months, we would have ceased to be a village. Things were that dire for us as a village. So Brian, you have my personal thanks. I hope the thanks of all the trustees and all the residents for the job you did. Having said that, Brian, when we come to the ZBA, I will be your opponent.
I don't think Brian was under any illusion.
I do want to talk about dysfunction and function. We've had a very dysfunctional year, and your goal this year needs to be function and function and function. I'd just like to point out to you that you were more than 30 minutes into your meeting before you could even decide on an agenda. That is dysfunction by definition. You had a lot to talk about. You have to realize that's not a functional way to run a meeting. I think you're going to be haunted by some of the past dysfunctions yet. We can't solve that, and we don't have to revisit past things that have happened. I think you have a lot of assets to make yourselves functional. You have two new enthusiastic board members. Rocky's obviously given a lot of thoughts to the way he would like to see things change to help you be more functional. I think that's a real asset. You have the many volunteers I mentioned. Brian has recruited 3 new staff. I'm so happy to hear that. And I would encourage you, if we need to hire a headhunting firm to fill that last position, just spend the money and do it. We've got to become functional. If it takes us $20,000 or $30,000 to find that person, spend it and get it done. It's simply critical that we be a functional village. So the other big asset we have is Brian hasn't told us he's leaving yet, which is great. We want him to continue. So I think we have the assets in place to really have a great year, and I encourage you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Okay, other public comments this evening? Do we have anybody online? Any other public comments? All right, let's proceed with board matters. Item 7A, payment of bills. Mark, did you want to speak to that?
Sure. So I'll move the payment of bills in the amount of $2,622,169.26.
There's a second?
Can I ask
Carol? Hold on one second, Brian. Carol's a second. Go ahead, Brian.
So in looking at the bills, specifically the historical bills from our consultants, I noticed that we are often seeing planning fees for kids, FLAD, CSM, Sweetbriar. The titles that are on those from Vanderwall are numerous, right? When we do these bulk payment of bill statements, we don't actually see, we just see the invoice from Vanderwall. I can't see the breakdown as to what that discussion with FLAD was. Now, I will point out that I'm unaware of an authorization from the board for planning services to be paid to a consultant for FLAD, any TID under construction consideration, Sweetbriar, or the CSM. Yet that totaled almost $8,000 in the last 4 months of consulting fees that we paid. Our budget for the year is $10,000 for planning services to Vanderwall, I think is what the number is. It's really close to being fully used, right? If it's, well, I might be off by a little bit, but it's almost all of that, right? I'm concerned that we are using planning services with Brian's discretion at $6,000 when statutorily Brian's discretionary spending does not permit planning services with consultants. It's expressly an exception in the code that required board approval because those are ongoing fees. So with our we pay consultants tons of money in the village, right? And granted I'm new and I'm going to figure out why all that is necessary. I'm sure there might be reasons I don't understand. But what I don't understand is I don't understand how, as a resident and now as a trustee, how we authorize that money. Did the board ever authorize? We've been operating under a mistaken conception. What on earth were we planning with FLAD and Vanderwall in a meeting for? What were we planning? What are those? I don't know what those are. Right. So when I look at these, specifically the Vanderwall, and also I have some concern about our fees that we paid our attorneys, because we paid Bill Cole, like 90% of what we have budgeted for the year. We're like 38,000 of 45,000 already, right? And those aren't itemized as to what those are. Some of those I believe to be other personnel issues that came up that are ones that I think actually probably should have gone to Boardman and Clark, not Bill Cole. So I don't understand how we're authorizing that because those are big sums of money that we're not going through the board from what I can tell as to how they're authorized. Can we get that to be more delineated as we go forward? Because I cannot, and I'd like to know what those expenses were historically as well.
So I'm going to give Brian an opportunity. Do you want to respond to? comment about that?
Sure.
And then we'll go to Rocky and then
So
Shabna.
basically, the way I look at our consultants, since we're a small municipality, I look at our consultants as extensions of our village staff. So when a technical issue arises that is outside of my area of expertise, or something that requires a legal opinion for proper guidance, that falls within my scope and authority to reach out to that person. No different than if it was a pool issue and I walked over to Dane, our pool supervisor, and asked him, the director, and said, Dane, I need your assistance with this matter that falls outside of my scope of knowledge. So small municipalities, this is very common. It's financially more prudent for us to consult than to hire. So those are extensions of the village staff. And when issues arise that fall outside of my scope or purview, that's when they are asked for guidance.
So that being said, and just taking that at face value, it sounds like we would need to amend our ordinances, because right now we're operating outside of them by following that policy. And I would be comfortable doing that. I could see like the Vanderwall notes from the discussion with Flat and make sure that that was something that lines up with it and just verify it before I voted to change the ordinance, right? Because that it's all that straightforward and reasonable, awesome. But it needs, Rocky's email the other day referred to sunlight, right? I need sunlight on that in order to be able to make, to look at it. So what was the discussion? When we pay Vanderwall to rule on with Flat, for example, right? Or the TID, right? I understand why we might have to talk about Ellers with the TID, right? I get that, didn't strike that. I get that, that's important. But I don't know why we're paying consulting services that aren't itemized. Sorry.
Oh, no, thanks for making that point. I think it was Julie.
Just so, this is something I can share with all board members, it's probably been a while. There's a procurement policy that's in place. It might answer some of your questions as to what does the board approve? What does the department head approve? What does the administrator approve? So I can send that out to you tomorrow if that'd be helpful. And that gives us a little bit of guidance. Basically, if it's budgeted and within certain dollar amounts, it gets approved through a process. So it's not just one person, whatever Brian approves also goes through the treasurer. Whatever just the treasurer approve also goes through the administrator. Whatever the department heads approve, depending on the dollar amount, also go through either the treasurer or the administrator. So there is checks and balances in place, just so you know. And then if it's an unbudgeted item or a larger ticket item, the procurement policy states that it has to be approved by the board. So I just hope that clears it up.
No, it does. I mean, being asked to approve the bills for the first time, looking at the bills and then going and looking into the bills, I couldn't explain the bills. So.
Understood. And you can always, well, I can't speak for my predecessor, my next person, but you can always, if you have a question, give us a call. We'll get the bill and tell you what it's about.
Well, Rocky, then Shabna. Rocky, did you have anything?
So, somewhere in time, it's been lost, but it used to be that if a consultant or lawyer was talked to, there'd be a couple sentences afterwards while they discussed what it was about. So we knew. That seems to be missing. Back to the sunshine, that's the sunshine. Well, what did you guys talk about? Why did you meet? I don't know when that went away, but it's not there anymore. Certainly when I was on the board back in 2000 and when Peter Haas was president, we knew those things. And now it's like this black hole. The second thing is, if we're gonna run out of money for the lawyer and the accountant, we've almost blown the whole budget and it's April. So if in fact that what we're doing now is how we're gonna continue on, I would say we gotta multiply that budget item by 4. And we should probably approve whatever that is, how we gotta do that. Because when you're out of money, you're gonna stop calling, because that's gonna be what, in a week?
It might
You
be
know?
it might be in this one, because I was looking at historical ones, those numbers.
Okay, thank you, Rocky. Shabna?
Well, I mean, I'm glad we're having this discussion because when we do payment of bills, it does, I mean, I always look at it and I go through it, but it's like, if I disagree, what happens? Sometimes you look at the date paid and that invoice is already paid. So I guess what I'm saying is that I feel like I'm a rubber stamp. Is this a rubber stamp process? Because if you disagree with something, I don't think there's a way to not approve this.
If there's a specific item, the board could choose to pull that item and we would not send out the checks because the checks aren't sent till the next day.
But these items are already paid.
Some are because of due dates. They are paid ahead of time so that we don't incur charges.
So is there, can we bring this up at the next board meeting of like, and I also think, I mean, Julie, does the procurement policy affect consultants? Because my understanding of procurement is that it's a purchase of an item, but I don't think services goes.
It does discuss items versus services and some things. Yeah, it does address several different things. I can't tell you specifically, it says consultants, but it's like it's not a huge document. I want to say it's maybe 10 pages, something like
Okay,
that.
last question.
It does.
Do you guys have any suggestions for how we can do this job without that feeling of like, I just have to do a rubber stamp? I brought this up before. Julie, do you have any thoughts?
There's different, we could present it in multiple ways. I'm leaving, so I can't speak for someone else. This is pretty standard, to be honest. A lot of this is more geared toward, in some smaller municipalities where there isn't multiple people to look over the bills. It's a way for separation of duties. In our case, it's not necessarily required, but it still is, like, you guys see this money go on out. There's not a question, you see a big sum that looks odd, you question it. Because we have all these checks and balances in place, it rarely happens if there's anything honestly that needs questioning, but it's still there for you guys to look at. Is how I guess I would explain it. We could do a check register. Right now, your report is divided out by where the money is going. The different funds, the different accounts. So you might have one check for $1,000. 500 goes to the general fund, 200 goes to the pool, and the rest gets divided among the utilities. So you don't know the full check amount.
Okay, I'm going to make my last comment. My last comment is, I hear what Brian's talking about. For the next payment of bills, can we just have the invoices for the consultants? I don't think Brian is saying, I want to know you guys bought staples at Amazon, right? I think what I'm hearing is it's just purely consultants.
And attorneys.
They are a consultant. Okay.
Rocky. That's the point I was getting to. I mean, I was on my own for 20-some years. I never put in an invoice without saying what the hell I did. Pardon my French. I always listed what I did.
It exists. We just
And
don't see it.
So there's got to be in our accounting system a way to put a sentence in there, even if we don't see the invoice. The invoice would be better,
That's what we're
right?
saying.
And so I didn't think of that. So when I said what I'm saying is, I think we need that comment. So actually, Shab now nailed it better than I can. So maybe I'll just be quiet.
No, you had it. You had it.
Julie, go ahead.
I'm not gonna have a finance director at the next meeting. You can mandate it, but there might not be anyone here to do it. It's also, I mean, once we receive these bills, we already owe the money. We can't pull it back. And so asking to see specific invoices for specific things is extremely labor intensive when you already have a staff that's doing this. I wouldn't recommend it if it's something that you're concerned about. I don't know if it should be with the approval of the board. I think it's a separate item where about how are we dealing with consultants? How are we dealing with attorney fees? I wouldn't bog down the checks. You don't want your checks to be late. You don't want to ruin the village's reputation for payments. I would recommend if you want to discuss it, don't tie it with this. Have it as a separate discussion. That's my recommendation, because you're going to bog down the process and you're going to be tying up people's time, pulling out individual invoices. What if they miss one? It's a burden on the staff that's extremely, you realize that our 3 new people have been there less than a month. Please give them a little time to get their feet under them before we mandate more tasks for them. But yeah, I wouldn't put it as part of the bill process. That's unusual to just call out specifics. And honestly, a little bit unnecessary because we've already committed to those funds at that point.
So this will be the last thing. Chuck.
Go ahead, Rocky.
I think my concern is looking for trends, not specifics. The staff, in my opinion, can make specifics. if you make a decision to pay a bill that I object with, okay, but it's a trend. We look at that trend, we say, well, okay, maybe in the future, let's not do this, all right? So that's what we're looking for. And that's what last one shows you, that's what we can see by just a couple comments. For instance, I had no idea why Flad would be using a consultant that we're paying for. And that, to me, that's just mind boggling. That just shouldn't happen. But there's maybe something I'm not unaware of. And that's where that clarifying statement would happen. We look for a trend. It's not a matter. I'm not trying to say how the treasurer would pay bills.
No,
They've got dates and things, but we will see a trend if they keep doing things that the board objects to. And then we'll deal with the trend.
And that's why planning services, I presume, is a new one, was called out. That's all.
This was a
Thank
good
you.
discussion. You bet. This was a good discussion. Mark, I think you made the motion.
I did.
And
Carol second.
Carol seconded. So are we ready to move forward? Awesome. Ready to vote? All those in favor of approving the bills, please say aye or raise your hand. All right, that motion carries. Item 7B, the consent agenda. I'd ask for a motion for approval. Mark,
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
there a second? Carol?
I would like to consider, removing January 20th.
Item 7B3 off. Okay, anything else? You ready to second the motion then with that change?
Is this a place where we can take off the parking lot?
No, we're on the consent agenda now.
That's here. Isn't that, oh, it's just being,
Yeah. All right, so we have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item 7B3, the approval of the January 2026 minutes. That was a friendly thing. So yeah, ready to vote on that? All those in favor? Aye. Raise your hand. Okay, that carries. Carol, what's your point on 7B3?
So we're unsure whether the minutes were actually reflecting what was said.
Right.
It sounds like, so, I think we need to take it on ourselves to watch the YouTube or the Facebook or wherever we are right now with the recordings. And then be ready next time to, address it as a separate agenda item.
Okay, does that make sense?
Sure does.
Awesome.
Will someone be submitting a adjusted change ahead of the meeting that could be presented to be approved?
I will take that on.
Thank you, Carol. All right, item 7C, old business, C1.
Can I kind of motion to table that item then? Have it just
I'll move to table that item.
Yeah. Do we have to vote on that? Okay, ready to vote on tabling that? That's approved. Okay, ready to move forward. Item 7C1, approval of the December 16th, 2025 Village Board meeting minutes. Kate?
I have a couple questions on this one. So do we want to get a motion on the floor first, or should I just ask my questions?
So you can make a motion if you want.
Well, this is my question. There were a lot of, just trying to bring the packet up. There were, so on page 37, for example, there's a recap of what Gloria Beach said virtually, which was not accurate, but then later in the packet, I believe it's page, so I'm trying to find 40 something. There was another recap of it, and I think those are the updated minutes. So I'm just confused when we say we're actually approving the December 16 minutes. Which version are we approving? Are we
Right.
approving the entire thing?
I noticed
Just
that.
confusing.
I noticed that as well. It was like we had duplicates or,
Can I-
yes, go ahead, Taylor. Sorry.
So to give a little context for this is originally minutes that I believe Chrissy compiled. And then there had been a motion to remove that pending changes submitted by trustee Lottie. Those changes were provided in the interest of being able to get this on the agenda. I didn't even do any edits. I just provided those changes
Got
for
it.
board consideration. So the original minutes, everything there, that's what Chrissy made up.
Yeah.
The then addendums, as I put them on, would just be appended to that. To update the original minutes. This was a choice to just get this on the agenda for potential approval, rather than spending another day trying to insert those.
Right, I agree.
So what is the choice to approve as is, to approve addendum A or addendum B?
That's correct. I believe those are in the packet.
Is that helpful, Kate?
And so the pages are not, so how am I supposed, is addendum A and B? I don't see it labeled.
They would be in the bookmarks.
Okay, I just want, I guess my point is, I would like to approve the amended version, but I don't want the previous version as public record, because I believe that was inaccurate. I wouldn't even want that suggested out there. So I'm in favor, I guess, of, if we can figure out how to verbally say it, to approve the appended, December 16th, board minutes. I'm in favor of that, but I want to be very clear what it is, literally which pages
So
we're
you want
approving.
to amend, not do an addendum?
I would rather the
Okay.
original minutes be amended and not have an addendum. Right.
Shabnam?
Just to provide some additional background information, because, I'd said I would like to provide some changes. And I submitted 2 versions of changes. One version was just me, I guess it's page 40 of the packet, where I kind of wrote a longer paragraph for myself. But then I submitted a second version, which starts on page 42, where everything is a little bit more polished and cleaned. So I was offering Julie and Brian, if we're going to make it raw and, everybody's statements as they are, then go with the first version. But if you want it clean and polished, then everybody's statements and conversations are polished. It seems like you guys are giving us that choice to make. But that's the difference between what starts on page 40 of the packet versus page 42.
Does someone want to put forward a motion to provide a choice for the board to discuss it and weigh in?
I'm just getting my ducks in a row here.
Yeah.
So I guess I will make a motion to approve the December 16th, 2025 Village Board meeting minutes, with the amended version, which begins on page 42, but I'm not seeing, that's not Gloria's full. Okay, yes, page 42, yeah.
Is it, do you want 40 or 42?
You talking to me?
No, that wouldn't
I
be
just
right.
found the whole process to be ridiculous. I don't have the package in front of me.
Okay.
I can't speak to what page.
42 is a shortened version.
42 it
So
is.
I'll put that out there as a motion.
Okay, is there a second to Kate's motion? Carol, will second it. For discussion,
Since
Rocky?
Gloria's concerned, do we, silly, can we put this off and let her read this? So she knows what we're approving?
I did read it, but it was very mixed up.
I thought you
I
just,
did, no, I don't have it in front of me. I did read it. I didn't find bookmarks. In fact, I started to put my own bookmarks in to the PDF. So I'm not sure about the bookmarks. I did read it. But it feels like it just kind of kludged together. And I think that board would be better off having 3 complete versions put in front of them. And then decide what you want to do.
Well, I think we do have 3 complete versions. It's just oddly in the packet, which I totally respect. We were trying to get it in, so.
I mean, it's not up to me.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we have a second. Should we have a vote then on this?
Sure.
Call the question.
All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye or raise your hand. I just want to make sure that okay, so it's, okay, so that's a vote. Opposed?
I'm just gonna abstain.
Okay.
I just don't know.
Did you get that, Taylor?
Yeah.
All right, that motion carries. Item 7D.
So John,
One,
you voted for it then?
yes,
Okay, got
we voted for your motion. Yep. Discussion and possible action, pool parking lot phase 2 reconstruction bids. We have Tim Stevie here from Town and Country Engineering. Brian, did you want to speak this? Or we just have Tim start out? Let's have
This
Tim
one,
do
I
it.
think Tim and or
Great.
Dane.
Okay, and Dane is,
I think Dane might be online.
okay, awesome. Tim, why don't you kick us off?
Sounds good. I am going to pop, just because I find it a bit easier to talk about these things, that involve a lot of exterior improvements, just to share a map here. I'll go ahead and share that, folks. And we'll go through this letter first, my screen's up, and, we'll do both. So, we put that pool parking lot bid out. We, for the discussion there, had a couple of alternate bids included with that. A base bid portion of the street part of the pool parking lot, and an alternate bid for additional area, and another alternate bid for some storm sewer work in that area as well. So on the screen there, the base bid work that we'll be talking about here would be in blue. So that'd be a replacement of just the asphalt shown in blue there. The alternate bid area would be only the asphalt shown in green. It doesn't, chiefly doesn't include that portion directly in front of the pool. That's a slightly newer vintage asphalt there, and our resurfacing limits here only extend to the oldest, roughest portion of the lot currently. And then the third alternate, or the second alternate bid, sorry, the third portion of that bid, the alternate bid 2 would be the storm sewer line. You can kind of see it. It's a little faint, I suppose, up on the screen now, the distance it's at. There is a storm sewer line extending from the village's current closest storm sewer inlet at that location there, up into the drainage channel that extends through that pool parking lot currently. So you guys got pretty good bid activity, I would say, for this work. We separated out the pool bid and the street work bid into 2 separate bids, and we did find that, you know, we had a different sort of slate of contractors. Some of the contractors were the same, interested in that work, but a slightly different slate interested specifically in the pool bid. You had 5 bidders actually submit on that one, which is pretty darn good for today's bidding climate. Of all those bids, R&T Bagley Excavating was definitely the lowest. Across all kind of potential options there, there's not a bid scenario in which you can put together those numbers. It's not R&T Bagley as the low bid. So with that in mind, in the interest of kind of moving this meeting forward, I don't think there's a ton more that I would cover on my end, and I just go ahead and take questions from the board or any comments that you guys would like to kind of discuss here with regards to what's in front of you. Oh, I did hear some discussion on, you know, when would, you know, potentially pushing of the acceptance of these bids. 60 days is the time frame in which you would have to actually accept these bids before they become invalid. So you do have time there potentially, and timeline on the project itself is fairly open. I have talked to the contractor, R&T Bagley, here about the work, and they indicated that they would be pursuing the work post pool closing in the fall, as opposed to trying to slam it in the spring here. So they didn't have any ideas of doing it in the fall, in the spring.
Okay, Brian?
So, my concern echoes one that was just said earlier, and I wanted your opinion on it. So there has been some discussion, though it's not on the agenda, of potentially looking at the pool and like some kind of accelerated timeline. What if we were to do this? Is this work that would very likely be damaged by heavy equipment going across it, depending upon what that design was?
It's a bit hard to say, though our initial instinct is probably not, mostly because as you look at the map here, this is not an excellent heavy equipment access route. Taking trucks through the kind of skinnier area here, up through this whole parking lot and around this area, we would generally tell contractors, don't do that.
So
Be our restriction. So I would say if you were to privately bid this project and you put that out as, hey, we're going to be reconstructing this pool area, then you could also include in those bid documents, don't touch this asphalt here. Do whatever you like to rebuild your stuff that's in front of the pool, but just don't touch the asphalt that we just rebuilt.
So my question is, having been to a million construction sites in my day, right? They all need a place to leave all that gear, right? They have to move, like, it just, all excavators and all the rest is gonna be moving, right, on top of how much, what, tons of stuff, right? So we wind up doing a major demo on that building, or doing any major change to it. Isn't it like, that's the only flat area where they're gonna be able to reasonably they're gonna have to drive across that blue area all the time, aren't they?
Potentially, they would drive across, but I would caveat that with restricting them from driving heavy equipment. So I would expect certainly material storage, similar to the that job, and like things of that nature. But things that are going to ruin an asphalt parking lot like this are generally going to be excavators and dump trucks. Right. I don't see a need to take an excavator around the parking lot, especially in the blue portion, for a job like. And I mean, it depends on the contractor. Sometimes you get contractors playing out of bounds all the time, but our advice, or my advice, I guess, would be, if you're worried about that, and you still want to do the work this year, then in the future, tell that contractor you break your buy. Like, if you put it in that contract, hey, that's not sacrificial asphalt. You've got a hard barrier here. This is your playground. That's not part of your playground.
One last thing, you said 60 days.
Yep.
So we have the other discussion coming up, if it gets into the agenda, which it should, next month. There's really no reason for us to make a decision on this until we've had that discussion on what might we want. We could kick this really easily to that next one without any consequences, right?
They'll make the contractor a little uncomfortable, but really they're obligated, they're held by a bid bond, they're obligated to hold that bid, and the village has the ability to hold those bids for 60.
Okay, you got Kate?
So, two comments. I'm just not clear, how is a vehicle turning around if they are not going on green or blue? That's one open question.
I would say they're not, they're backing.
They're gonna back out.
So I would say the move then would be, you
Interesting.
require trucks to back out and do sort of a Y turn on the next street.
Okay, okay. I would also just point out for the board, the green area here is a potential zone, if we redo this now, that locks in that kind of architecture, and maybe we want to keep that, but maybe we don't. And so, maybe we want to change that turnaround. Maybe we want to rethink how the bike path connects, maybe you want to think about children's safety and crossing. So I think there's more concern to think about there. And so I would hate for us to spend money and then rip it up or want to redo it if we have a new plan that, might better utilize the space. So I just wanted to flag that, folks. And my third comment is actually, I thought the original urgency behind these two bids, getting the street bid and this, is that there would be some economy of scale. It sounds like we are getting I know there's some repeating people, but it doesn't sound like that is actually coming to fruition, that, by separating them, we got, individual bids. So we could do street, fine, but this we could table, and it's not like we're losing any, money by not bundling them together.
They are currently set up as two separate bids, yes,
Okay.
they're not tied together.
Okay.
The primary comment I have is, as long as I've been in the village, I've personally been on 3 reconstructions. There's been 2 since then. I'd say the probability of that pool building being taken out and something else put there is close to 100%. To put one dime in that parking lot with a puddle in, that my daughter, who's in her 40s now, I had to stand while she jumped in it. Just seems to me just not even worth talking about. There's no way this parking lot is gonna look like this after we redo that community center. It just won't look like that. I don't know what it'll look like. My guess is a bike path will be in there, other things will be in there. It's not gonna look like that. So if we put one diamond here, we're just gonna tear it up. And I'll tell you, I've been on a lot of construction sites, and this is how it goes. Okay, you don't want me back up, all right? That'll add 2 months to the project. Well, we can't have those 2 months. Can I back up? Fine, but don't go too far. And all of a sudden, the parking lot's gone and everybody's going like this, pointing. And I've seen that so many times. As soon as the deadline comes up, all these rules go right out the door because it's got to be done. So 2 things. One, I don't even think we should be looking at it because clearly we got to do something with that building, period. And 2, the whole parking lot's going to change when we do something with the building. So we're just throwing money down the toilet.
Thanks for that, Rocky. Brian, did you have something you wanted to
I
add?
was just gonna ask Tim, realistically, even if we accepted the bid, how quickly would one of these responders be able to come out, mobilize, and actually start the project and maybe finish it? Are we talking this has to be done post pool season with how
Correct.
close?
Yeah,
September,
September,
so-
fall project, like summer projects as opposed to spring.
Perfect.
Yeah. Brian?
Considering that, I'd have a motion that we table this until May for, at the very least.
Or Mark?
But Tim, is there any other solution to the puddling, which was significant after the last storm? In terms of just filling it in and just dispersing that water across a greater area so that we don't have quite the depth that we currently do in that.
So on that one, I've got and it's kind of, I'll try to zoom in here, highlight it. I've got a line drawn here. A flow line in asphalt. That flow line in asphalt, and we run into this frequently on kind of building sites. It's unlikely that somebody designed this parking lot and kind of decided, hey, we're gonna build a pond here. We probably built it with pitch in it. And at some point in time, that sank and became a pond, right? When we tore apart, or when the village repaved the portion of asphalt up in the kind of corner in this area, just neighboring this zone, there was approximately 4 inches of base underneath that asphalt, and the asphalt was approximately 2 inches thick. That portion up there was rebuilt with 18 inches of base and 3 inches of asphalt. It built on very, very little, like base course, very, very little foundation. The likelihood of what's happening there is that base has failed, it sank, and has created a pond. So the idea of like, hey, we're just filling this in where grade doesn't exist, that's not quite right. There is a little bit better than minimum pitch grade in that flow line and asphalt that is just kind of highlighted and drew on the map. That does exist. It's not by any means an exception to standards. It's a regular kind of pitch for a flow line and asphalt to go from point A to point B. We are suggesting a couple of things to kind of help deal with that, and we have bid alternate available, eventually help deal with that further if the village is interested. So one thing that we added to the project here was about 25 feet of 30-inch curb and gutter. So wrapping around that corner, one thing I saw was sometimes pavers struggle to make a curve in a flow line and make that curve, which is what exists right now on my kind of red line here. That's about what happens right now. And sometimes making a curve in a flow line in asphalt like that can be a pretty difficult thing to do with a paver or to do with handwork equipment. So our suggestion here would be to actually extend that curb and gutter out around the corner and then make that low line in asphalt and pull it there. That's what's included in the base bid, that curb and gutter, and just continuing that flow line in asphalt, again, a bit over the minimum grade pitch. Another alternative that can be pursued would be to connect to the village's nearest inlet, which is about where my cursor is there. We have to construct another inlet right next to it, just to be able to make that bend there and stay off private property. We are very, very close to private property and a couple of telephone poles connecting to there just kind of tricky in that corner there. And then we go ahead and extend out of that inlet to hit a low point that we create there. What that would allow us to do is dip the pavement down and increase that grade going to that there. So then instead of, 0.75, 1% kind of going there, we try to target 1.5 or 2% going to that, and you'd have a little rain hit there. It has pluses and minuses in that if it gets plugged with leaves, now you've got that going on. So there's that, and you have to drive over something that's maybe a little bit, bump, you kind of go over that situation as opposed to just having a full line asphalt. So trade-offs in both. The cost for alternate bid item number 2, which is what all that storm sewer is covered under, I believe is around $18,000.
Rocky?
I have one more addition. The other thing, the reason why I think this whole thing should be just put on ice is because I couldn't find the alphabet soup I looked for that state mandate that we retain so much stormwater and whatnot. If we reconfigure this parking lot, wouldn't we be able to put in a retention pond that might help us towards that goal, which we're borderline on? So to me, if we put this off and when we do the community center, we can reset this and we can also tackle the, whatever that was called. I can't remember the acronym.
You're thinking about probably the municipal separate storm sewer
Big
permit?
bingo, the permit.
Yep.
And so this might be something that we can address when we reconfigure the parking lot for that permit. For instance, there's quite a large grass area down there. We may be able to put a pond because if I remember right, we just want to get the first 1 or 2%. That's what the dirt is, and the rest will go downstream.
The village has been lucky enough to be able to meet its permits requirements in recent years with the addition of a new street sweeper. And a few
Right,
other-
but if I remember right, we're borderline. So
Yeah.
to me, it's just another, here's a missed opportunity. If we go and spend this money now, we're most likely going to tear it up with vehicles because timing and whatnot. And also, here's an excellent opportunity to get some kind of a drainage for addition, stormwater control. If we rethink this as part of the main building project.
Certainly, if there's a massive amount of impetus to redesign the parking lot as a part of a massive pool. Yeah, I mean, that's beyond.
Well, let's not use the word pool. It's the community center. That's what that always was. Called a pool now because everything else is bad repair. No one can use it. But that was a community center and that's what we want to bring it back to. When we bring it, if we bring it back to the community center, that will reconfigure the parking lot. When we reconfigure the parking lot, then maybe we can address the stormwater thing also and get a twofer. So, thank you.
Okay,
I just want to second Brian's motion.
to
Table
table this,
for May or the future.
and then Tim will keep you in the loop on that.
Can I say a quick comment?
You bet, Sean.
I just think Rocky's comment was brilliant. It's so creative and forward thinking of other opportunities. And is that something that services or pool committee could look into? So I don't want to lose that like thinking outside the box and stuff. So that's all.
Good point. Thanks for that comment. Taylor?
Can I just clarify the motion? Is it for the May meeting or just at body's leisure to take it back up?
So it's my motion. So the motion was in consideration with the other pool discussion. So if that winds up having legs, we may kicking it further. If we all decide that's not a good idea, we may decide to do something like this as a temporary bit. So I would say let's put it to May as part of the other agenda item for the pool item that was submitted by Shutting for May.
Thank you.
Okay, and we had a second on that, and do we have to vote on that? We're just tabling it, so we don't have to,
Or the motion and second to table motion.
right?
We
Should vote.
So,
What's that?
did you say for Shotnam's pool?
Shutting had an agenda item to be added. Shutting and Rocky jointly authored a pool piece, didn't you? That was in the.
I don't know if we quite got it on yet. We're working on it. No, that.
Well, I think this would have to be because of the 60 days. I think it would have to be at the May meeting. I don't think this particular. item-
I think by the time we get to May, we'll have enough information to address whether or not we should do the parking lot or not.
Okay, yeah.
I think we already have enough, but fine, we'll give it a little more longer.
Okay, so, vote to table it until the May meeting. Okay?
Oh, I'm just raising my hand.
Okay. Right, that motion carries. Thanks for that. And then, D2, discussion possible action 2026 street improvement bids. Tim?
So, we also put out to bid, 2026 street improvement projects. That would be improvements both on Shorewood Boulevard and Hunter Hill. Hunter Hill is the entire length of Hunter Hill. And Shorewood Boulevard, it's from north of the tracks up to the four-way intersection. We had 3 contractors submit bids on this project. That included Payne and Dolan, Tri-County Paving, and Wolf Paving. And the low bidder in most combinations, all combinations, that is Payne and Dolan, with the exception that Tri-County is the low bidder using the combination of the base bid, alternate bid 1, and the supplemental bid. I will go ahead and go through what we have there for alternates and base. So on this project, we had Shorewood Boulevard, as I said, Hunter Hill. So for alternate bid 1, included the addition of concrete curb and gutter on Shorewood Boulevard for that repaving. So the base bid just on Shorewood Boulevard just includes resurfacing of the asphalt shown on this map here. And inlet adjustments, casting adjustments is necessary to support that work, as well as some pedestrian crossing improvements to bring them up to kind of ADA standards there, and some remarking of the crosswalks to reconstruct those crosswalks after the repaving effort. The alternate bid includes the addition of curb and gutter. Base would just have asphalt edge, as exists in much of the village and as exists there now. And a concrete curb and gutter would be the village style curb and gutter. We call it a rollover curb and gutter, a little bit lower than sort of the standard 6-inch high bed there. That came in quite well, I would say, for pricing. The village got about $35 per lineal foot on that curb and gutter price. So in terms of how much curb and gutter costs and what the village received in bids, it was very attractive in that sense. Alternate bid 2 included changing this crosswalk here at the bike path, which connects to the sidewalk there, or obviously a lot of people take street access if you're on a bike. Kind of coming around that corner from a continental crosswalk, as we kind of turn it with these stripes like that, into a epoxy green crosswalk. So that kind of small, I think it's about $1,500 or so that most people put on there. That's what that changed. So that's kind of what we had on this project. So the base bid for Hunter Hill just includes the resurfacing of Hunter Hill itself, as well as some additional curb and gutter on the south side there, south side.
Carol?
I wondered if you could describe a little bit the supplemental bid items, especially excavation and disposal of bad subbase below subgrade and breaker run. What does that mean?
Sure. Yeah, so we design roads like this for kind of local streets with an 18-inch base course section. So that'll be 12 inches of breaker run, which is a 3-inch size rock. That's kind of the modest size. It has fines in there and other sizes as well. It's a reference to the grade position of that particular class of classification of rock here. 12 inches of that, and then 6 inches of 3/4 inch rock, which is another, again, classification of a sieve size rock. Then above that, we'll have 3.5 inches of asphalt, kind of paved in 2 lifts. So that's kind of the total section of what's designed for the street repaving stuff. And then sometimes we get into areas where you dig down that 18 inches and you get down to your subgrade and it's just clay or just muck or something that's absolutely horrific that you could put that 18-inch section on and it would not stand a chance of holding up to anything. And so we'll include excavation below subgrade, which would be below our lowest level of excavation, subgrade. to improve that area if needed. So that is paid in two different forms. That would be the actual excavation in a cubic yardage form, or digging out that kind of bad material in that area, and then also filling that excavated material back in with 3-inch rock. So that's kind of the process there for improving this upgrade to the point where you're not having issues. We never really know how good those subgrade soils are until you get there. It's a little tricky. You can take soil borings, but even that can be kind of spotty at times. And so we'll usually put it in as a supplemental item. And what that indicates, and contractually has the village's ability to do, is that the final quantity of that is less known than all the rest of the items on the bid tab. All the rest of the items on the bid tab will come in pretty darn close to that if it's paid per plan. But that one could vary, sometimes kind of significant in terms of the amount of use. Usually we try to go in fairly conservative there to give the village budget, or the municipality a budget number to, not to exceed essentially. But that's the intent, is you're hopefully coming in under budget on that.
Brian?
Whose discretion is it or how that policed in contract? We don't have an inspector that would verify that I'm aware of, other than GDC. Do you need a contract with somebody outside to do that? Do you do that? Who does that verification?
We typically do help the village with inspection on projects like this. So we'll go out, we'll do inspection either as needed on projects that are kind of street and utility, where new utilities are being installed underground. We'll typically provide full-time inspection on that type of effort, just because something gets put in the ground, that's probably the last time you'll see it, hopefully, if you get lucky. But for street improvements, that can be more of a part-time situation where we'll come out and inspect the subgrade, inspect the contractor's operations, and then the final test is you take a dump truck, you load that dump truck with gravel or whatever it is, you fully load that dump truck, you drive it over that base. So once everything's all prepared, and you think, hey, this is looking good, you drive a dump truck over it. If it deflects significantly, that needs to be cut out and redone. If it doesn't, then hey, it holds a dump truck. Great, let's keep moving.
Rocky?
You have to forgive me for reasons of nobody's fault. I didn't get any of this packet information at all. So I couldn't read what you're talking about. One thing I've noticed in this village is we're running 90,000 pound dump trucks out of here, a lot. And I've seen, garbage trucks coming in at like 40,000 empty, but they leave full down on all axles. So they're probably 80,000, 85,000 pounds. Is this road you're proposing set for that size truck?
For sure.
And it is set for that size truck. And are the curbs there? So when those trucks, they blow off the side of the road. Is that why you want the curbs to try to hold the side of the road tight? What's driving the curb?
The curbing was actually a suggestion from a trustee here as the potential alternate bid item as this was coming out to go for approval to bid. So that was kind of where that came from initially. I was thinking it wasn't in the village's budget to be able to accommodate that, and it wasn't initially part of the scope that we were asked to provide there. But when it came up as a question, it was fairly simple add to put it in the bid as an alternate item. Just get the village pricing on what would it cost you to add curb and gutter. So from our end, like from an engineering perspective, obviously curbing can be, I mean, nicer for road management, easier to plow against, all that good stuff. But we don't have a particular, it's a preference.
Well, when I watch those trucks come in and go out, I've been around plenty of them, they wander to the end because you got that dog leg in there. I mean, is this taking her? When that was originally made, one of the problems we have that dog leg is, and I brought it up, but then I was off the board when the decision was made, is someone's driving a 90,000 pound truck, they're gonna run a straight line, they're not gonna follow the dog leg. All right, and when I look there, it looks like it's getting busted out, and it's failing in those areas, and it's failing at the railroad tracks. So how is this addressing that? I mean, should this be concrete? Should we change the line just a little bit to straighten it out some so the trucks? Because that's really the problem. It's not cars, it's those big trucks that are busting this thing up.
Yeah, definitely the higher traffic, heavier roads, you'll see them fall apart a lot quicker.
So you can see the bump in your picture there, right? This was a concern way back when, I remember bringing it up, and then again, I was off the board, is measure yourself in 90,000 pounds. Are you gonna do that dog leg? You're gonna go straight. I can tell you, I'm going straight. All right, And so I'm wondering if we shouldn't be straightening that out. They're just as heavy going out as they're coming in. They come in, I've seen triaxles come in, you're loaded, so they're probably running 95,000 to 100,000 pounds loaded. I've seen dump trucks go all loaded, so both of them, the ones coming in are hitting the island in the middle, the ones going out are hitting the bump there. And I'm just wondering if that shouldn't be straightened out if we're gonna put all this money into that stretch.
Sure. I would say it would be a different bid. Currently, what you have doesn't include a full street reconstruction. So what we're doing with this project would be pulverize the material that's there on the asphalt, regrade it, drive the dump truck over it, see what that looks like. And then if you needed to replace that section, that would be that 18-inch section, right?
So this lasted about, what, 20 years or so? So what you're proposing, do you think it'll last about the same?
Probably, yeah, and that would be a typical lifespan.
So again, I apologize, I didn't get the packets, I don't have the numbers, all right? If we said that maybe it's a better option for our money to straighten that out, right? Are we talking about adding another third to your number? Are we talking about doubling your number?
I would say, because what you would need to do is destroy a chunk of this median island as well. So you'd be looking at replanting the median island, repouring the curbing that's in that median island.
So probably another half.
Yeah, at least another half, because you're also talking about replacing snow base course that exists in this terraced area here.
Right.
So you need to construct roadway there and remove roadway here. It'd be
And,
certainly more of an effort.
and when they dug that, they had to go down a ways, by the way,
Yeah.
it was soft.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
So it would be definitely more expense on the front end. From is that bend, the bend looks okay from a would you drive it? But again, to your point of would you drive it is a different, at what dump truck drivers or large truck drivers actually do versus can do.
I see them shooting it straight. I've watched it. Yeah.
There's the other couple of things I just tossed out there, would be kind of traffic speed management. Things like this are akin to what you might call a chicane in the road or a narrowing of the road. Things that make it uncomfortable for people to drive or harder for people to drive generally mean people are going slower. So the things like this that kind of deviate from a straight line or aren't exactly engineered, laid out things are generally favorable for slowing people down. Or there's some benefit there.
Scott, Rocky,
I'm done.
no, that's good. You might have a comment on this as well, but I'll ask Tim for starters. Isn't it, because we're potentially putting a curve in, isn't it less likely that we're gonna have the meandering, because the meandering occurs now because there's really nothing there to stop it. I think the crew has had big rocks there, at least on the other side, that got moved or, what have you.
It probably would help a bit. The village's curve is not as hard as like a 6-inch high curve, right? So
Right.
that kind of rollover curve does make that a little less punishing, I suppose, than if you were hitting a straight edge curve. But suffice to say, that color difference helps too, like seeing a delineated edge that is concrete as opposed to asphalt. Even if somebody's not processing that consciously, they'll process that a little unconsciously in the way I've got a barrier.
Brian?
Not to overcome this, but what's buried under there? Like, if we move that median to straighten that out, would we need to move that median? I can't see in that picture if it would cost. Is it even worth considering? Like, what's the expected lifespan gain of straightening it out, you think, versus the way that it's curved? Like, it's 20 years this way. If it was straightened out and done as Rocky's suggesting, how much more would we get out of it? You know what I mean?
I don't know that I project an additional lifespan on the road by straightening it out. I don't know that, because the primary failure point of the road would be just average daily traffic. How many trucks are going over this thing? You could get on those, if you were to put curbing on these corners and stuff, as he's saying, you could get some people kind of cutting that corner or doing things of that nature, and then maybe that curb in that specific spot doesn't last as long as curbing in other areas, but I wouldn't predict that the roadway itself would fail.
Okay, well,
For the green epoxy, is that on both crosswalks that you have up there? Just the front one, the main bike one?
Yes,
Okay.
right. That's just the price for the bike.
And is that consistent with how the city of Madison would operate, so their bike paths, like I know there's one on, I'm blanking on the road, but when you go over to like the Monroe Street, there's a crossing, like that's what they would have.
Yep, it's
Okay.
the same style paint as what you've seen elsewhere. The village has a little bit.
And Ridge.
A little bit of it.
Yeah.
Over on University Bay Drive, part of the ridge.
Yeah, okay. And then would you mind just showing the matrix you have with the 3 bids, if you have that up? So to
Yes.
make sure I'm understanding the. You have it, yeah.
Accidentally,
There's so the base bid, that's blended for both Hunter Hill and for Shorewood Boulevard.
Correct.
Is that correct? So we don't have that broken out, but okay. And then alternate bid number 1, that is for adding the curb and gutter.
Yes,
And then alternate bid number 2, that's for adding the crosswalk.
yes.
And then supplemental bid total is
Both.
for both streets.
That's our estimated potential undercutting, is what we term that kind of going sub-base improvements,
Okay,
both of those streets.
great. Okay, super helpful. And then the last comment I have is, a resident reached out to me that lives on Hunter Hill and had, some feedback and wanted to relay some of the things that they observe with like Amazon trucks that back up and just some of the ways we either may want to conserve, because I know in that other picture you have like a kind of, is it a concrete barrier kind of at the end?
Mhm.
So they just had some really good feedback on, as someone who lives like really closely right there, how that could maybe get constructed. So is there should I connect them with you, or what would be the next step to kind of make sure that their feedback will be incorporated?
Absolutely, yeah, we're happy to take resident feedback,
Okay,
really like it.
awesome. Okay,
It's definitely-
great.
It's very helpful.
When you pull that down, I have one quick question.
Yep.
Did you ask Tri-County why their bid and alternate bid 2 was 6 times the size of anybody else? Normally those numbers line up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Did they see something that others didn't? Did they communicate why they thought that had to be high?
I don't know.
That concerns me.
I do feel as if it was an error in their bid. Unfortunately, there's not really like a change that can happen there. They can't change it post. I haven't had a conversation with them about it, frankly, because there's not really much they can do about it. These bids are not entered in a paper form. They're all entered in electronically. So there's very little room for error argument for, hey, if you flub the number on your typing your stuff, that's the way it goes. That's just the way the chips fall. So it seems like they might have misinterpreted some stuff there, but it's hard these 2 people clearly use the same subcontract.
So just to ask my peers a question to educate me if I could. So if we decide we want alternate bid 1, 2, and then supplemental, we're talking about, we are obligated to choose the lowest bid total number, right? That's as a municipal, as a public utility, public entity, right?
You have some ability to not do that, but it is in very limited circumstances, and generally it's not recommended. You would need to really demonstrate that the contractor is, not responsive in some way or not able to do the work.
Just wanted to make sure that my understanding was right. But we don't have a way to ask them why they said 13,000. And then, because like, my only concern would be if they said something that resonated with you as true, but the others had missed, right? And that's the reason I asked. But if you don't know the answer to that, then
Alternate bid 2 is set up as a add deduct item, which is slightly different. So it does not cost $1,900 or $2,000 to add, to construct a crosswalk in green epoxy there. It probably costs sort of $13,000 to construct an epoxy crosswalk there. But our base bid already includes a continental crosswalk. And to me, it seems as if they forgot to do
Okay.
that.
So,
thank you. That helps.
So we have a motion that Brian provided in the notes. Does someone want to advance this?
I have one last question.
Go ahead, Kate.
So, I was trying to find this, what do we have budgeted towards streets?
I can tell you.
Okay, thank you.
I have
could
that
not
pulled
find
up.
That number.
Uh,
We're looking at maybe 163 here if we approve it, but
280.
280.
And do you know the condition of the utilities under Hunter Hill?
Good question.
Are we gonna do any utility work there?
No utilities on Hunter Hill.
There are no utilities?
Correct, yeah.
Are there any utilities that we have to look at underneath, shoulder, that little stretch?
Well, we're looking okay, if I recall correctly.
Because we just did all the sewer work, right? I don't know,
Yes.
There's not much else there, is there?
There's some water main that goes into, I believe it goes from our main connection down in that area.
Are you gonna inspect that?
So,
Is that something you normally inspect to see or not?
no, we don't, it's not a great way to inspect the water main or kind of go check it out. Typically we go by age and break history. This has not a concerning age or break history besides that.
Where's the pre-done motion?
Page 2 of Brian's. Someone wanna take a whack at that?
And
Go ahead,
you're
Carol.
adding- you're adding the contingency, right? That's on there too?
Am I correct based on the foregoing
Contingency is
discussion?
built into the.
Hold on, Carol.
For contingency, it would be part of the village budget, but not part of the award. So not part of the recommendation or necessarily, but something that would just be continued budgets.
So we just have to be aware there could be a $16,000 add on this.
It's generally, no, because it's not part of the contract at all. So it's more of, construction work has a lot of unknowns.
No, I'm not. Where's it gotta be in the budget, just so it's accounted.
Sure.
I understand the contingency, just where is it accounted for? That's all I'm asking.
Yes.
Carol?
Am I correct that the main thing we need to decide then is whether we want curbs or not? Seems like a good idea to talk about that before we try to craft a motion.
Yeah, okay.
I think that because this is the entrance to our village,
Yep.
my strong preference would be to really do this as best as we can. And so I would be in favor of supporting the full bid amount of 163 and definitely love the update with the, crossing. And I think that's like a go-to from a safety
It's-
perspective.
It's a huge crossing for regional bike traffic. A lot of elderly use those sidewalks. A lot of kids use those sidewalks.
Yeah.
There's a lot more traffic at that location, I think, almost than anywhere in the village. And so I'd be in favor of that as well.
Can I comment on Carol's
Go
question?
ahead, Rocky, you bet.
What did I say about curbs? I think the problem with curbs that we have on Tally Ho, those 6-inch bumps, because you hit them and you fall over. If we're doing the curbs that kind of slope up, then it's easy for a bike to get out of the way if something happens. But more importantly, it contains the road. So now you have something to plow to and the edge of the road doesn't break off as easy.
Yeah.
So curbs, my understanding is generally add life to the road itself. I don't know what the number is, but usually when they put them on, the road maintained is easier to maintain. So I would put them on there for plowing. I hadn't thought about aesthetics, but for plowing and the road longevity of the road life.
I asked Terry about that. Terry, does that sound good to you?
Yeah, for sure, fan of the curve there, it will help with grade, Tim did mention that, but with the sidewalk there. It'll help with grade and drainage there, and it's all around a good spot for it, I believe. The island already has curb around it. So, yeah, I think we'd dress it up a little bit.
Okay,
I can make a motion. We need?
yeah,
Okay. I would like, motion to authorize the village administrator to accept the bid from Payne and Dolan for the base bid, the alternate bid 1, alternate bid 2, and the supplemental bid for in the amount of 1,600, 163, 181 and 6 cents for 2026 street improvement projects.
Second.
Question?
Thank you. And
Are you
then
gonna
Martin?
include the contingency?
That wasn't how it was written in the packet, but I am open to including the contingency.
I hope we include it just so it's accounted for in the budget. That's all.
Would you like to amend it, Mark? Or do you want me to try again?
Yeah, I mean, normally we include those contingencies, so yeah,
Sure.
make a friendly amendment to after you say in the amount of 163,181.06 plus 10% contingency, insert those words, plus 10% contingency for 2026 street improvement projects.
Got that right, Taylor?
I sure do.
Okay. And then, what's the second on that? That was Shabnam? Okay. All right, I'm ready to vote. Any further discussion? All those in
Can I
favor?
ask one question?
Yeah, Terry, go ahead.
I asked Tim earlier, do we have a timeline for this?
This
There-
one, it's Payne and Dolan has not yet indicated when exactly they'll be doing it, but they were also kind of initially leaning towards the fall. It may coincidentally, one tie-in pool to here is that Vogeli was using Payne and Dolan as their subcontractor, so they were considering, hey, if we're both planning over here, we're doing the same thing, do we do it at the same time? Again, they're totally separate bids and they live in their own spots, so there's not like a tie-in discount, do one or the other sort of thing going on. But yeah, that was their initial instinct was, do we schedule it in the pool? So that's her.
Okay. Ready to vote on that then? All those in favor? That motion carries. Thanks, Tim. That's awesome. I think we're skipping D3. And we're skipping discussion of our village strategic plan goals. D4. And we're moving to D5.
Yeah.
So Shabnam, this is your issue. Do you want to speak to it?
Sure. So, and it's, the memo is written in conjunction with Rocky. Rocky had a flyer out discussing how important it is for committee assignments to represent the voice of the board. And so what you have is an ordinance. Let me just pull this up real quick. I have a lot of tabs. 1 second. Okay, this is page 71 of the packet. And so the motion is to waive the first and second reading of ordinance number L-2026-01. We are already doing ranked choice voting. This would codify it into our ordinances. There were some other minor revisions I included, like statutory citations being corrected. We do not need to have those if people have questions about those. The termination section, this is page 74 of the packet, but I wanted to clarify the difference between elected officials and staff. And so there's a little bit of an added section there of removal of an appointed official by the village board shall require a majority vote of all members of the board, but appointed officials who serve in an employment capacity rather than as public officers, they are dismissed according to employment agreements and like personnel policies and applicable law. So that was just to separate those two. The other revision is like the village forester, like there it was, I was trying to clean up inconsistencies. This is at the bottom of page 75 of the packet. So I wrote there, where village forester has been appointed, the village forester shall serve concurrently as the weed commissioner, and no separate weed commissioner appointment shall be required during such time. But if there's no village forester has been appointed, then a separate weed commissioner shall be appointed. So it was a inconsistency that I was trying to separate out. The other things are just changing the word village president to village board to reflect the work that we've done over the last 6 months on ranked choice voting. The only other change in here as well is to allow, well, let me keep going. I added a section, it's on page 79 of the packet, about a conflict of interest. Because that's something that the residents have been asking for repeatedly, that if there's a conflict of interest, members of the board would recuse themselves. I added a line on officials and board members shall use their official village email address for business communication, because that's kind of been problematic with open records not being fulfilled or being fulfilled incomplete. So this is just kind of stuff we know, but we just want to codify it. If I go to chapter 2, chapter 2 on page 82 of the packet, I changed May 1st to June 1st to be the beginning of village appointments, because we always run into this issue where you're going to be running for office and then everybody's got to have their committee assignments on the same day as the new trustees are coming in. We struggle with like trustee elect. Does that person get to participate or not? And pushing that to June 1st gives the board that additional flexibility. And there's another thing. There's something kind of interesting. I combined public works with services because, it's just needs to be done. And when I was chair of services, we would discuss purchasing equipment, and the committee members were versatile in that field, and that's what they did. But with the procurement policy that came out in 2022 or 2023, that work was kind of like taken away from services, and it was just the administration would purchase the equipment they want. The facilities was something that services would do, but then when it was an opportunity for services to work on facilities, that work kind of got taken out of their scope. So in a lot of ways, services is like a committee that doesn't have things that it really does outside of recycling. It just makes sense to put services under the umbrella of public works. I see a lot of head nods in the audience, which makes me feel good that I'm not crazy. And there's one other addition to add, which was just that any 2 members of a standing committee could be able to call a board meeting, just like trustees can call a special board meeting. I'm going through it and there's nothing else. That's it. Go ahead.
Question. I see that 10B on the committees, standing committees.
Yes.
Originally, I asked that the trustee was not the chair. But what we did, in some cases, the trustee should be the chair for some things. I don't think the trustee should be the chair of standing committees because the trustee gets their vote on the board. Right? The standing committee is there to be the village as a whole. The trustee doesn't have to run that committee. The trustee is just there to watch and maybe report, maybe whatever they want to do, but I don't think they should vote, and I don't think they should be in charge. And somehow that got removed. You and I had language in here, and I don't see it anymore. Did somehow did that get lost in translation? It's 10.
Sure.
Was that the second? Yeah, chapter 2. That's what I thought. 10B. I really do not think trustees have to be the chair of committees. I don't see the point.
Sure. So I think that there's more work that needs to be done with these chapters. I even left out that we're meeting at 6 when we're meeting at 7 to move that up because we're still in a pilot.
So that could be done later date.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you that. Okay.
I was trying to just do the bare minimum that could be the least controversial. Go ahead, Kate.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my comment is, while I don't disagree with a lot of the changes that you've made, what's listed on the agenda is that it's a pretty narrow discussion and possible action. So it says revisions to chapter 1 and 2 of the village ordinances to transfer committee nomination authority from the village president to the full board of trustees. And so there are a lot of changes in here, like the point you make on services, the point you make on, there's a couple other that I wrote down. Thinking on right now. I'm
Can I
feeling
ask
like
something?
this is a little bit more broad.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
Oh.
What's listed here.
Where are you reading?
I'm reading just from our agenda. Sorry. What the agenda item, if we are trying to basically be as transparent as possible, what we're talking about and the shifts that we're making here, I think you're suggesting some really interesting and good things that we have been swirling around for a while, but it's not exactly listed in the agenda. And so if someone had, for example, current services committee members wanted to come and speak, they wouldn't have no idea that this has been getting discussed tonight. And so I think that we should either narrow the conversation to just codifying. I think what you're trying to do is ranked choice voting here. So take that, and then maybe we have to parse out or bucket some of the other changes you're making in chapter 1 and 2 and discuss it when we've posted it correctly on the agenda.
I'm gonna go to Taylor. I'm gonna go to Taylor next. Taylor?
There was in consultation over here in the clear corner was, that as it is on the agenda, that possible action, would likely be also narrow to like re-referring, something along those lines. Julie had mentioned this is not on the agenda as a first and second reading. That is for your consideration as well.
How was it submitted?
Okay, how this was supposed to, how I hoped it went, and again, I didn't get the packet stuff, and it's very frustrating. Because I went off the village website, and the village website is completely wrong. So, you know, for what we're looking at here, because I'm trying to look at the village website now, and I'm not seeing anything that we've talked about tonight, so I'm a little frustrated. What I was trying to do is the first and second reading on this, because I don't think we should ever jump to the third reading on the ordinance change. We get the first and second reading, and then we post it for comment. Then they'll go out and people can look at this thing. It's all out there. So in the first and second reading, I was hoping to have the part about the trustee and that thing, right? And then on the third reading, if that created too much controversy, then on the third reading, we could pull that section out or whatever happens, and then have the third reading at the next board.
I just
Thank you.
want to add that in the memo that I wrote, the recommended motion that I wrote was to waive the first and second readings of the ordinances. And I also did include that the ordinance changes include other revisions, minor revisions to correct statutory citations, empower committee chairs to call meetings, clarify inconsistent sections of the code, and add language for conflict of interest and use of village email for village purposes. So it's in my memo. It is not listed in Brian's suggested recommended motions. My motion is not there. But if the staff is not writing it in the agenda differently, I have like no authority over that.
I'm looking at what you sent right now, and it does definitely include all that information in an attached memo, 100%.
Are there other, Kate, were you done?
Well, wait, I don't think we left this. So what are you saying? So normally we do a first and second reading. I've never sat through it unless there's the half buildings on fire where we do the third reading. So
Are you asking me what I'm saying? What I'm saying is when I look at, so if I'm following everything correctly, Kate is saying, as a question, if a resident were to have looked at the agenda items, the agenda item wouldn't accurately describe the scale of what's included in what Shabnam has presented under this item.
and I agree with that.
Right. The counterpoint to that, however, Brian, is that what was submitted by Shabnam to be included a memo that should have made it into the packet that did not, that would have outlined that for any resident that is able to see. So this appears to be an administrative clerical oversight is what we're gonna call it.
So with the oversight, and forgive me, with the oversight, let's say we get past the oversight, I'm not happy with the third reading. I thought we were gonna have the first two readings. So then that gives the village residents at least a few weeks to look at it before we codify.
Can't do the first or second reading though.
Yes.
Okay,
but
let's bring it back here.
Sure.
I'm gonna go back to Taylor and then we'll go to Shabnam.
I-
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Real quick.
So in my email, and I copy everybody on my emails, I wrote that the agenda item should be listed as discussion possible action, first and second readings of ordinance L-2026-1, amending chapter 1 and 2 of the municipal code, which would be all inclusive. So Brian Mooney, please help us understand why that was changed.
So
That's what it should have been.
agenda setting policy that the board passed, which is highlighted with this item, states that a trustee can ask to bring something to the board, but it must adhere to that highlighted section, which is it's given to this, it's all prepared by the trustee, but it's referred the staff at a future for the next meeting, I believe, to collect the data and do the research for it, or it's to be removed from the agenda, I think, for 1 year. I think those are the two.
It says
things in
may.
policy.
It doesn't say shall. It says
Okay,
may.
yeah.
So the trustee can request that. I did not request that. It says the
No.
trustee may ask the staff to do future research. Now you emailed me and I said, I don't need future research. I've done my work.
Well, the staff needs time to ensure anything that we're gonna pass is actually, like, how do we otherwise give feedback if it's on the trustee to do all of the research at it? And then the staff doesn't have any involvement in it.
That's
but-
between the second and third reading.
You have, yeah, you guys definitely have plenty of time to do that, but I get my board packet on a Friday and I have 2-3 days to prepare. I sent my item a week in advance to give you guys plenty of time. Now, if there's something between the word board and president that requires research, I'm open to listening for that. But to say that there needs to be research on an item and it's vague without specifics, it's just games.
Well, right now, as you're well aware, we're dealing with a little bit of a staffing.
So I did
State
the
of
work for you.
flux.
I did all the work for you guys.
Here's
Yeah,
what doesn't,
but
Hold on,
sometimes you
Rocky.
have to refer things to consultants. I cannot guarantee, I cannot assure the board that Bill Cole can get a review done in 2 days to get it published. I don't even know if Bill's in the office.
Sure.
It's a little
Okay.
different situation here.
Got it. I will make a motion to waive the first and second readings of ordinance number L-2026-01.
Rocky?
okay. I have no idea why Brian thought that he had to edit the original thing. The original thing was just fine. And this whole problem is because Brian decided he had to edit something. He had plenty of time between the second and the third reading to do whatever he wanted to do. Everything was done for him. This has been going on a lot. This should not have been edited. It should have been put on the way it was given to him, like that. And that's how I thought it was. And because I didn't get the board packet, I couldn't holler up and scream, say, you guys got this wrong. To me, this is kind of like grade school stuff. Skipping the second and third reading, we don't do that. So why would a village administrator even write that in an agenda? It doesn't make any sense to me. I would never skip a second, and third reading. I don't know if anybody else, I've never seen it done. We could ask Peter, he was president. I've never seen us skip a second, and third reading, never. So you as a village administrator thought that was the thing to put in here?
That's-
Without, what, so,
No,
okay.
I think her packet, I don't think there's anything missing from what.
No, I think she had. or
And
I
I
misunderstood.
don't have the packet in front of me, but I don't think there was anything that was removed from that agenda topic. If I'm wrong, there might be an error with it getting loaded, but I thought everything was in the packet pertaining to what you were.
Did I
what
read it
you
too
said.
fast, Shopnop? I thought that thing that you sent out said we're gonna have the first and second reading tonight.
That's
That's
what
what I
it
thought it
says.
said.
That's what the email says.
It was in the suggested title.
That's what I
It was
thought.
Suggested title.
So because I didn't get your other stuff for whatever reason, I couldn't see that you decided to change that. But even if you decide to change it, just think, Brian, why we're frustrated. That doesn't make sense.
That's how we've done it the last year and a half since I've been here.
It doesn't make sense. So you're telling me that the previous board waived first and second readings or just to the third reading of ordinances for the last year and a half?
They don't approve anything that a trustee brings to the very first meeting without it having a chance.
Is that
to
in
go
the
back.
ordinances?
It's in the agenda setting policy that's in the packet right after.
The
And now we see the problem, don't we?
Okay,
And now we see the reason why people are very frustrated.
Rocky?
That was passed before I came here. That's just what I was told to follow since I had joined the village.
I'm gonna go to Julie, and then Mark.
Okay, I'm no longer the clerk. I was the clerk when that policy was passed, barely. I can give a little background. I have no sides. This is what I remember when this policy was passed. There were concerns by board members that their items were not getting on the agenda because it was solely under the president's purview. And the board at the time discussed this, and they came up with this policy over several meetings. And the section where any trustee can put an item on the agenda was meant to bring it, that they could force it to be discussed. And the idea was, it said the staff will not have to do any work on it because it's showing up at the last minute, a Tuesday afternoon. We have to get this stuff ready by like a Wednesday afternoon to be able to finish and get everything out. So at the time, whether you agree with it or not, the discussion was that the idea was the trustee would provide an item so they could get it in front of the public and in front of the board. The staff would do no research at that time, and the board would decide on this agenda item, do we want to pursue this topic? If yes, we're going to either send it back to the staff or the representative committee, whichever applied, to finish up this item and bring it back to the board in the future. Or it might be something that somebody was trying to bring back over and over and over, and the board said enough. And if the board killed the item, it could come back for a year.
That's right.
So that was the process behind that chunk of the policy. It wasn't that you bring something up and vote on it immediately, because nobody's had a chance to vet the item. Sometimes it's something small and not a big deal. Sometimes it's something that you don't even know. Now, Shabnam drafted an ordinance. Are we sure that's the correct number? Have we had any other ordinances?
I checked.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But we didn't check and we don't know.
And
if
that's-
somebody else
Okay, hold on.
could have not known. We've had stuff sent in that might not be in the correct format. It might just need to be tweaked. There might be something, that you don't know what you don't know. So you should always run it by somebody else. Whether it's the administrator, the clerk, the public works director, you should have some other kind of input on it. That was the thought behind the policy. If things are changed, if you want to change the policy, that's up to your board.
Or the committee.
That's the background, but the idea was, it's to push it forward, get it on the agenda. It was not noticed as a first reading because of that.
But why would you guys not talk to me? Why
I believe
is it?
Brian sent you an email.
And I said, yeah, he said, let's not put it on the agenda. And I want it on the agenda.
Okay,
So, but why revise the heading and not talk to me about it? And I still think it still can go through because it's in the memo. And if anybody wants to change wording or other things, that can be done between now and the next reading.
but the agenda is the official document for the.
But why are you editing it? This is
I didn't edit it, right?
Why is
Rocky,
Yeah.
Rocky, we're gonna maintain decorum. We're gonna maintain decorum.
And there's frustration.
Brian, you have to hold on.
Stepping into this, I am out of this, and this is why I'm out of this.
Yeah.
But that was a thought process behind it, and there are times, and most of the time, the purpose is for this to get it out there. The staff doesn't have to do last minute because it's coming at the last minute. If we knew this, if this had come in a week or two before, we would have had time to vet it. Tuesday, we don't have time to vet it. It's going in that board packet.
It's not
We
coordinated.
don't have time to vet it.
Thank you, Julie. I saw Mark, and then Brian, and then, Carol.
Oh,
Go ahead, Mark.
yeah, okay. So I understand a lot of concerns about the process, but let me just ask the question. Is the motion that was made, is that permitted
I think we
the
should
way
check
it
with
was
Bill on that.
noticed? Are we,
We need to check with Bill on that, because I have concerns about it not being noticed as a first.
I mean, I have, whether I agree or disagree with the substance of it,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get to the substance until I get through the question of whether it was properly noticed.
That's
So
my
I
question.
can't support the motion without knowing the answer to that question.
That's a question.
And
I
I
don't know if it's
turn
legal.
to the village clerk and
So
that's my position on it.
Bill
I
is
mean,
on.
I think we should still discuss the substance of it, but I think this is a threshold question for me.
I think that's me next. right?
Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Brian, and then Carol.
So when I first submitted my first agenda item to the board for consideration, Brian sent me back the policy. I read the policy. The policy to me, and I sent a memo out to all of you with a revision to this agenda, delineating by statute where it was in violation, I thought at least, of Wisconsin law, right? You can't have centralized control, you can't have editing. Yes, we could put something mistakenly in there and pass it, and that would be our bad, right? And you guys could advise us against it as we do it, but the ability to control it, vet it in advance and put it in there is not a function that administratively is supposed to exist according to Wisconsin law that I'm able to find. Now, you guys are clerks, I am not. But I researched it because it looked insane to me it did sounded anti-democratic when I first got sent it, right? Now, I get that it was way more democratic than it was, Julie, and I'm not attacking you. Everybody made it to try to make it better than it was. That's the way everything always works, right? It's not an attack. It's really not. But it's also, right now, we're in the crux of that problem where we intended to have one thing done by somebody. It's not there. We have to take up in the next one, we have to take up changing this policy to reflect what Wisconsin law is. And I know Taylor said he was going to research it, but we should probably prioritize this. Because I don't believe that the current policy is even legal. Right? And that's got to get fixed.
Brian, thank you for that. Carol?
So I'm not sure about the conundrum that we find ourselves in, what was noticed, what we want to do next in terms of the ordinance procedure. But since I believe that the appointments was struck from the agenda, that this is my only chance to ask a few questions that pertain both to the ordinances and to the appointments, right? So just want to point out that we're going to have terms lapse. If we even have May meetings of many committees, we are going to have trouble making quorum. So I'm assuming that what is officially happening is that more seats will be empty until we actually make the appointments. Okay. Second thing is in the ordinance as revised, and which I agree, don't know if I already said, I agree with just about everything, just about all the revisions. So I'm not contesting any of that. How to appoint chairs. Is the board appointing chairs? Are we doing it in a special meeting? Is it going to be closed session? Does that even qualify for closed session? There are some mechanics here that we will have to figure out that are actually not obvious. And then last, since we're not going to talk about ranked choice voting here in any other item, how to conduct the ranked choice voting. Kate and I had the idea that it would all be, that all the votes would be known public. And it didn't work out that way. Not every trustee felt comfortable, and that's fine because this is a pilot. But if we're going to codify it in ordinances, we're going to have to be clear. Are all the votes going to be public? Are they not going to be public? How are we doing this? So there's some development yet to go here in this procedures if we're going to change them to be by the board. That's the one advantage of having it by the president is that there's no open meetings violations. There's no logistical thing. If we're going to have more more plural input into this, it's going to be a little more complicated. I think it's fine.
Shabnam, I see.
Well, I actually initially had the words ranked choice voting in the ordinance, and Rocky made the right suggestion to say, let's just take that out and say board, that we could have a policy written because we don't exactly know how ranked choice voting is working, but to just say the board will decide committee assignments, and then we can draft a policy of ranked choice voting once we work out these glitches to make it cleaner. The idea was that this would just be cleaner.
It's cleaner to be written that way in the ordinance, but we'll have a lot to, I don't know if the details will have to be in the ordinance. I guess I'm just flagging that there's a lot to figure out before we can actually do it again.
I recognize Rocky and then Brian.
First off, everybody here can see the problem with the president appointing these committees. The committees are not working. Second off, I don't think it's complicated at all. The board is an executive body. Somehow we were able to do it. From when I was on in 2000, all the way through Peter Haas, and I assume to Mark Sundquist, before all these changes were made to the president's appointing. So somehow it worked in this village for a very, very long time. And then roughly 10 some years ago, someone decided that the president should make all the decisions, and now things aren't working. So we're just trying to get this back, that the board is an executive body of which the president is merely a tie-breaking vote. Nothing more. Otherwise he's a trustee. This is very straightforward. As to what this person did, all right, which I did not see, or I would personally went down to the village hall banging my fist, which you guys complained about, is he changed the words. And you just can't do that. And that's been happening here. And my guess is that's why this young lady's been so upset. I suspect this has happened to her many times in the last several years. And that's what's got to change. There is plenty of time from the second to third reading. When I was on the board last time, lots of little tweaks were made between the second and the third reading. That's when the village staff looked at it. That's when we made slight tweaks. That's when the village out there got to see it because the whole thing was posted. And sometimes before the third reading, we would take out whole sections because it became a little more confusing than we thought. Often we didn't do, it went through in the third reading just fine. So what we got here is someone decided to do something he shouldn't have done. And we're trying to simplify the readings here. Had it been done the way it was submitted, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We would have had the second and third readings and we'd have been moving on 30 minutes ago. This is the problem.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, but Brian, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to respond.
All I'm saying is that agenda setting policy existed before I came here. That has been what we have tried to follow for the last year and a half plus, when issues like this have come up. So it's not the first time that this has come up. I think there was a meeting like 2 or 3 months ago where we had this as like, there was like 3 or 4 agenda item topics where we have the same type of motion. It's all tied back to the agenda setting policy. I have no qualms with you changing that agenda setting policy. It would make things clearer for me. I'm just saying that was the principle by which I was setting up doing it.
Rocky, I share some of your misgivings about ongoings, but I will say that in this case that, well, whether it was done intentionally to subvert it being brought forward or not, it is the policy under which Ryan has thought that he had the authority to do and would be asked to do in the kind. So we are going to need, I think, because it wasn't properly noticed, and for somebody old, because it's not contained even in the supplemental material that there's a first or second reading. I hate to say for a matter of process, but I think somebody could undo it if we proceeded to count it. I don't think that we have a choice.
I agree with you.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Okay,
But at that point, the anger
All
about
right.
was really deserves to be brought secondarily to discuss the agenda
Thank
setting
you.
policy.
I'll back down.
Now, in terms of Carol's great point, well, what do we do about, I think I have a question that would go to personnel. These kinds of personnel decisions oftentimes are not made public for personnel records. These submissions by folks, and they're going to be staffed, and we are staffing those positions. Are those deliberations ones that could be done collectively as a body in joint session where we release the joint results, but we can openly discuss it with one another as a personnel matter? So can we consider the employment of the committees personnel issues and treat them as, if the answer, Julie thinks that the answer is no, and shake her no, but I'm not sure that that's actually the answer, but it would solve that issue. So I suggest investigating.
But yeah, I'm just saying, I just said it needs development.
No, I know. I'm just thinking that
Yeah.
might be a path.
Mark?
Putting aside my concern about whether it was properly noticed, on a more substantive basis, I'm concerned about us changing the ordinances, overturning a process without knowing what the new process is. And in fact, the prior board, our previous action of the board was to create such a process. And we followed through on that process. And we have ranked choice voting, and we have summaries of ranked choice voting. So why don't we act on that before we decide that the process isn't working? I mean, for decades, right? This process has worked. Okay, it's been in the ordinances, who knows, maybe from the very beginning. It's not a surprising way. This is the way many bodies handle the issue of appointment. So I just don't want to make hasty changes to ordinances because of an issue about a personality or a person. I'm much more concerned about the process. And I don't think we should overturn a process until we know what the substitute is, particularly when you're dealing with time-sensitive issues here. Because as Carol pointed out, if we do not make appointments tonight, there are committees that will not be able to meet. And we constantly say that the committees are the workhorse of village government, and yet we're basically saying, well, the committees can't meet and somehow the work's going to get done and somehow board will have to make decisions without committee input. That's all very troubling to me, and I just don't understand why, since we have a slate that was proposed to us that originated in ranked choice voting, which was a process the board had agreed upon, that why don't we act upon that and see if those committee appointments are acceptable to the majority of the board. And if they're not, then we'll have to find another solution, which might mean ordinance changes. But for me to jump to ordinances before we even know we have a problem, when the ability of our committees to meet on a timely basis is at stake, makes no sense to me.
Thank you, Mark. Shabnam?
That's fine.
Well, I agree, Mark. I do agree with, so we do agree. But the ranked choice voting results were not the results of the individuals that the president was going to nominate. So you have a problem where the board has spoken, but the president disagrees. And so by making that statutory change, you're just making it very clear. Like, what are we going to do with our current system where the board has spoken in a democratic way and the president wants to do something else? Is he just going to go through a bunch of people and like, how do we, that's.
This is nine.
The problem is,
Sorry, hold on a second. Mark, can you hold on 1 second?
I can.
Thank you. Rocky.
I would like to say it's really precious that you're complaining about committee meetings missing when most of your committee meetings don't meet. A few more weeks don't matter, all right? And someone made this policy change in the last 10, 15 years to make it this way. It was not this way when I was on before. It was not this way when Peter ran it. We did not stack committees. We just didn't do it. I'm not saying there may not have been a bad choice, but we have people who can't read blueprints on one of the zoning boards. The thing is crazy. And so what we're trying to do is say, rather than having wherever this started, and it was not the time of the village, it started in the last 10, 15 years. We're trying to eliminate that by going into the ordinance and specifically saying, this is an executive body. The executive body will decide where the committees are, not a person. And that is what we're trying to do. That's all that's in there. And for you to say that this is going to affect our committees, it just isn't true, because we'll have these committees set sometime in May, and then maybe they'll meet rather than you not having them meet for months and months and months.
Thank you, Rocky. Mark?
Okay, a couple things. One, we don't know where the board's at because no vote has been taken. So we shouldn't be so blithe to just say the board disagrees. We don't know. Okay, that's point one. Point two is the board is going to have the final say, And the board always has the final say. Just because the president puts forward a slate doesn't mean the board has to approve it. The board has control. The board has always had control. The issue is whether the board chooses to exercise its control. And the board has taken steps in the past to do that. So to think that any slate put forward by the president is just being crammed down on the village, on the board, is just patently untrue. The board can just say no. Okay, and if the board says no, it'll come back to the president, and the president will have to make changes, that are acceptable to the board for the board to approve it. I mean, that's the way it works when you're talking about the Senate of the United States. It's the same process. So,
Gotta get back.
Yeah.
I'm, okay,
All right,
I'm done.
so, I'll speak towards the end here. So I just think any structural changes of this kind should be coordinated with staff, should be reviewed by the village attorney. That just hasn't happened here. And I'm concerned about the agenda setting policy not being met. So that's a concern from a governance standpoint. So that's one. Two, and Brian alluded to it before, given our current and very real administrative staffing challenges, proposals of this scale feel disconnected from, where we are operationally. I think we need to be mindful of staff capacity and avoid adding complexity that creates additional burden right now. I mean, we need to match our ambition here with our current staffing reality. So I'll put that out there. I don't have a problem with dissecting or to Mark's point, having the opportunity to share with the village and share with this board, the decision-making I did as a result of the RCV, as a result of balancing out skills and expertise. And if people have a problem with that, then they'll raise that issue. And if we have to break it up where we do multiple votes in order to get these 63 people, these 63 places placed, I'm not opposed to that. I'll cooperate on that. I'll collaborate on that. But I share Mark's concern about we're just pushing off stuff. And it's going to have real impacts on the staff. It's going to have real impacts on our ability to govern moving forward. Cheryl.
So leaving agenda item 9 aside and looking back at 75, which is where we are.
Yep.
What interests me right now is what is the way forward? Because this is, there are a lot of ordinance alterations, edits proposed here. And, they do need to be seen by the attorney before it comes back to us. This is kind of a question for Brian, I guess. How could this come back to us in our next, say, regular meeting? What form can we see so that we can move forward on it?
So ideally with time, this would be something that I would have delegated out to both our clerk and our village attorney to both review and provide me with feedback on to see if it's in compliance, if there's any legal issues. I mean, sometimes these things have to go back to state statute to verify that it matches. So there's just complexities to it. Realistically, I don't think this is so large that it couldn't be done by May, especially with both having access to it now. Staffing complexities aside, I still think it's doable.
So does any trustee need to spearhead this in terms of naming the agenda item, naming the motions, preparing anything? Or is it firmly now in the hands of staff to shepherd to the next meeting?
I might actually ask the clerks on this one what their guidance might be on that.
Sorry to play hot potato, but I think since the attorney is present, I would not.
Bill, is that something that you could weigh in on, whether or not this is something that the trustee who brought the issue forward should name the agenda topic on, or if this is something staff and or
I don't think
do
that was
through
Carol's
staff?
question.
No, that was
Oh.
part of my question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That was part of my question.
Okay.
Yeah, my basic question is who owns this now in terms of moving it forward to the next meeting, in terms of naming the agenda item, naming the motions, preparing the edits and vetting everything. Yeah, how could that go between now and then?
Sure. So Shabnan, as I understand it, is the sponsor of this proposal. So it would be, it's hers to characterize it any way she wishes, notice it any way she wishes, and then once it gets before the board, as she said previously, once there's a motion and a second to approve, then it becomes the property of the board as a whole. So I think at this point, you have a sponsoring trustee that is putting forth some legislation. It's in the staff's hands now to analyze it, and at least in most communities, the next step would be a staff memo back to the board with respect to any legal issues, any formatting issues, any policy concerns that staff would have would be addressed in that memo to the board, so the board can consider that prior to deliberating on it, whenever it chooses to deliberate.
Can I say something? I just want to say again, I want to make sure I understood you correctly, Bill. I am the sponsoring trustee, and so it is my prerogative on how it should be noticed on the agenda.
Yeah,
That's what
I can't speak to the policy setting agenda, because in all honesty, I have not reviewed that. I'm not familiar with it. In the board can certainly restrict the ability by passing a policy. So if the policy somehow precludes that would control unless the board changes that policy. But in the absence of any preclusion like that, yes, it would be the sponsoring trustee that would identify it for public noticing purposes.
Thanks for that, Bill. Kate?
So it sounds like there is consensus potentially around, we have to follow how this was noticed in this current board packet. And so if I'm looking at this correctly, we have a couple options. We have option A, which is direct administrator and staff to prepare a topic for a future meeting. Or option B, board can decide to remove agenda and cannot return for 1 year. That's how it is written as potential motions in the packet. I know you were hoping for a first, waiving of readings.
I just have a question though. Like, those are Brian's choices, but he may not include my choice, which is in my memo. So, does it mean that if Brian doesn't put a motion option, an option C doesn't exist?
I don't think so, but the agenda doesn't list it as in that way. So I think if you wanted to waive readings, it has to be it has to be noticed to the public that way. That's my understanding. I think that's kind of what Brian, you was saying. So
Even do it.
in terms of moving this along, I think those are the main two options. There could be a third if you have an idea. And the last thing I would just say, it'd be great if someone could make one of those motions. But the last thing is, if you are the sponsor for this at a future meeting, I really request, because I would not categorize the updates you made in chapters 1 and 2 as minor. So I think that, like, moving services and removing services, changing the way we're thinking about a lot of these major things. Again, on the merits of them, I'm happy to have that discussion. I think you're starting at a great point, similar, I think, to Carol, but it has to be noticed in that way. So if, members of services want to show up, they can speak to, I think categorizing it as minor updates.
She never says minor.
I think in the email she did, so.
Okay, to Brian's point,
In the
All right,
email?
I'm gonna go to Mark and then I'll go to Rocky. Mark?
I just wanted to point out to the board that in the minutes that we approved tonight, there was a motion January 20th that was approved. That was a first by Kate and a second by Carol to refer review of the village's current ethics code 1.08 and code of conduct to the Personnel Committee for research and recommendations. Motion carried. So I think we also have to consider the fact that right now, this matter, at least with respects to the ethics code, has been forwarded to the Personnel Committee, and that's where it is. So, I mean, the board obviously can change its mind. One board can't bind another, but that's where we are right now.
Rocky, was there something you wanted to add?
Everybody can tell how frustrated I am because I clearly see why Brian seems like he's submarining trustee Shabnam all the time. It's terrible, but, to Brian's point, it's not in there properly. What should have been there is what she had, is that we have the first and the second reading. Had we done that and had we voted on it, there'd have been plenty of time for all the legal stuff. That's the way it's been done in the past. That's not in there. So I happen to agree with Brian that no matter how much this might upset me or how I feel right now about Brian's edits, doesn't matter. We can't do anything because I would not vote for third reading flat out. I'm just saying I wouldn't do that. No one has time to review it. So it could be that we should have a motion to table this to get it put in the next meeting properly and then address it at the beginning of the next meeting to move it along.
And have an opportunity for the staff to do what they need to do.
They'll have plenty of opportunity between the
And an
second and third
opportunity
reading.
for the attorney to weigh in and.
Plenty of
all things.
opportunity to second, third reading.
It's
So-
Brian?
My question is for Bill. So the current agenda setting policy is really the crux of this issue because what we're running into is we're running into agendas that are being submitted, right? That are authored by a trustee who are elected officials that have rights that are defined according to Wisconsin statute. And the board has authored and is maintaining use of a policy that permits singular presidential control of admission as to whether or not it's going to be included, or it allows the edit, which can include, in this case, as an example, does include substantive edits to the submission by the trustee. So Bill, what I would like you to do is clarify to this board, if you could, that while the village can set policy that it wants to, it cannot violate Wisconsin law in the policies that it does. And if it does things like narrow control of an agenda to a single person, that stands in direct conflict with the spirit of Wisconsin law. I can't imagine that would stand, right? So, and the same thing is true about edits. If the edits are clerical, that would be permitted, is my understanding. But if they are substantive and change the substance of it, that would make that edit illegal. Is that correct, sir?
The language of an ordinance is proposed by the sponsor and a second. A second would be required to get it on the table. Then the language would be up to whatever a majority of the board decides. It is very common that non-substantive technical revisions are made at the staff level. Numbering, that sort of thing. But yes, as to the substance, that would lie solely within the sponsor and the second to propose, and then ultimately to the board.
And just
with
lastly
res-
to clarify. Sorry,
Pardon me?
I'm just gonna interrupt you for 1 second. Also, if a trustee wants to put something on the agenda, correct, and they submit it on time according to policy with timing and so on and so forth, there is no ability for them to say, we're not going to put that on the agenda and shove it off, correct? An elected official can choose to forward something to be put on the legislation to be for discussion. They can all strike it down and remove it from the agenda if they want to, if they collectively don't agree. But one can forward those without them being removed by staff, correct?
In the absence of a formal policy of the board, that is correct. However, the board can restrict the policy of those type of procedural things. For example, it's very common in many municipalities that a matter cannot be put on the agenda unless at least two trustees or alders sponsor it. So that, and that's just the policies that's put in place by those specific councils or boards. In the
That would
absence
be
of such a,
different than staff, sir.
pardon me?
That would be different than administrative staff, correct, sir?
Yeah, unless the policy passed by the board somehow
That would
empowered
be
the
an illegal
staff.
policy, Bill. How can that be legal? It's in violation of the definition of a trustee in Wisconsin statutes.
Because the board is subjecting itself to those, it can pass whichever policy the majority of the board wishes. Ultimately, as to the substance of legislation, I would agree with you. You're an elected official. You have a right to put anything you wish before the body, and it would have to get noticed. But it is subject to, if the board wants to impose procedural requirements, the board has that prerogative.
That, I don't think that's true.
Okay.
Okay.
Ju-
Mark
just
and then
a-
Shabna.
Yeah, just a point of order here.
Yeah.
We're starting to get pretty deep into the agenda setting policy,
Right,
which was
Not on the-
not noticed and is not the subject.
right.
So
That's true.
I think we need to stay away from that.
Thanks
I
for,
think there's enough interest in it. It probably should be on a future agenda, but it's not on tonight.
I'm in agreement with you, Shabna.
So Bill, Brian Mooney did reach out to say that he wanted this not on the agenda because of the agenda policy. And the part of the agenda policy that is referenced reads, if the board decides to pursue the matter, the board may direct the village administrator to work with staff to prepare additional information and or a recommendation for a future meeting. So that is something that I understand happens here, that the board may decide to do that. The second sentence reads, village staff may edit agenda submissions and or wording of agenda items in order to ensure compliance with open meeting law or other applicable statutory requirements. So I think what happened here violates this policy because there's nothing that was wrong with my submission that required it to be revised to something else. Unless Brian Mooney, you could tell me what was wrong with the original submission, that it violated open meeting law or applicable statutory requirements. If anything, I would argue that Brian Mooney, you violated the policy.
Okay.
John, same
Mark.
objection.
No,
Yeah.
No, this is important.
We're not
This
talking,
is-
important.
This
It
is absolutely
important, but
important.
it's not on the
Here.
agenda.
Getting to
It
the
is on the
policy.
agenda. No,
Actually, back to the
no.
original point, though.
But Brian put this here. He included the policy as a part of my ordinance change that was co-sponsored by Rocky Van Asten.
This might be okay with you, but it's not
Rocky's-
okay with us. This is a board thing, not a village administrator
Rocky,
thing.
you have been recognized.
Am I correct, Mr. Cole?
I agree that ultimately it's up to the sponsoring trustee to determine the topic and the noticing of the legislation they're sponsoring.
And I'm not disagreeing with that, Bill. I think, but that's not the question in my mind. The question is, was this issue, was this the proposed motion properly noticed? That's where I'm hung up on. It doesn't matter how it happened. I mean, that does matter,
It does
but
matter.
that's not the subject of tonight. The subject of tonight is, can the board act on this motion, given the notice that was published? That's my,
Okay.
I refer that to Bill. I tried the clerks, they couldn't answer it. They said,
We
Bill needs to-
cannot, we
Shabna,
cannot.
you have to hold on for a second.
But right now, the board could act under sub 5 and amend chapters 1 and 2 with regard to committee nomination authority. That you could do that tonight. That's been properly noticed. The public's on notice of that topic. The other changes within that red line beyond nomination authority you could not do tonight. That would be an open meetings violation because the public is not on notice that those changes were being made or considered.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
But to
Julie?
clarify, I don't want to check with Bill, so it wouldn't actually amend the ordinance because our ordinances say we have to have a minimum of 3 readings over 2 readings. So we could do a first and second reading for the amendment. But it would automatically change the whole ordinance. It's still because our ordinance says we have to have a minimum of 2 meetings, 3 readings. And we can combine.
Yeah, a majority of the board could move to suspend the rules, take it out of order and move it now. I mean, that's within the prerogative of the
Your own
board.
ordinance,
That's the thing, isn't it?
that's,
So
I don't have a problem with content. I just want to make sure the process is being followed. That's all.
I think Brian seems to have this figured out. Let's hear him.
So I think that we should ask Shabnam what she wants to do, knowing that. Would you like to do it all at once in the next meeting and have that be readings 1 and 2, presuming it passes? Or would you like to have us separate out the one portion that was properly noticed, all aside, and get that going, and then have a second section to do the additional changes? I'm willing to do either way because I agree that you are right to feel aggrieved in this instance. I would feel the same way in your shoes, and I feel that way for the 2 of you. I get it. I understand it. I also, but there isn't a rectification other than path A or B, and I'm willing to support you on either one of the 2 you want. Which would you prefer? Yeah.
Rocky?
I believe the lawyer said we should suspend the rules and we could have the first 2 readings. Between the second reading and the third reading, staff and legal would have time to review this and see, and the public could see it all. So to me, I think, because that was the intent, that's what was there. I think we can suspend the rules, have the first and second reading, and then let the process proceed how it proceeded for 80,
Only the
90 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna recognize Carol.
So, thank you. I'm just wondering, how do you have first and second reading on part of a document? How, I mean, how does that work?
It's difficult.
Well, only the red lines that remove President alone and move to board are the ones that are actually referenced. So it's actually just those changes, like the combination of staff and services and facilities, they're not facilities.
So,
Thank you, Paul.
Carol?
so what would be the product of that action? What do you have then, when you've done that?
It would address the nominating power, but it wouldn't address the structural changes elsewhere.
So you would have an ordinance that had, you would have a new, or you would be on the path to a new ordinance that had half the changes that you were
That's right.
looking for.
Yeah, no, it's not a great solution.
Okay, I mean,
Not a way around the railroad. Okay, other thoughts?
I'm just wondering where we go from here. Shabnam made a motion initially. I don't believe there was a second. We had discussion. So I guess the question is, I don't even remember what the motion was. It was so long ago, but maybe Taylor does.
Yeah, the motion.
And then we can
was
decide.
As Shabnam provided in the initial packet materials, which is to waive first and second readings of the ordinance L-2026-01.
Okay,
And we were saying that we can't have the third reading. That is not the way it was put in the packet. That's why we stopped. What we had is the packet wanted the first and second reading, not waiving the first and second reading. That's why we went down this rabbit hole.
all right, I'm gonna redo the motion. I'm gonna redo it.
Are you withdrawing the motion that's on the table?
I'm just editing it. Okay, so the beginning of the motion is the same. 1 second. 1 second, just give me 30 seconds. My motion is to waive the first and second readings of ordinance number L-2026-01 only with respect to, I gotta get to the Revisions that transfer committee nomination authority from the village president to the full board of trustees, which is as it is written in the agenda.
So that means this is the third reading.
This is the first and second.
I'll second that if it's the first and second reading. I didn't quite understand the language. I thought,
So any other revisions that have anything to do with anything else are not included. It is just what is in the agenda.
for the first and second reading. All right,
I
I'll,
said I would support you.
oh, sorry. Yeah,
Do you
go
want
to
to
the second.
specify what lines in the ordinance that is? I don't have it in front of me, Sean, so is it, does that like, so we don't miss anything?
I'll let you guys know.
Okay,
I'll let you guys know.
Well, I would like to know before I vote
well,
on.
the motion,
Sure.
normally the motions for ordinances include what the ordinance is regarding, and in this case, we're only saying chapters 1 and 2 regarding.
Okay.
But then you did say the committee.
Okay, so on page 74, it would not include the revision for the appointment of term. That was a statutory citation correction. It would not include the
Can we just do
language.
what it does include instead of not include, so that he can make, I'm trying to, he's got to.
I'll send you an email. I'll send you an email, but I'm
just.
just reading this for Kate.
I'm sorry, I thought it was you amending your motion. I apologize, Sean.
No, it's all good. Okay, so the appointment and term is off. It's not in the agenda item. Termination, that additional language that separates it out, you can't include that. The weed commissioner and the village forester, it's out.
Administrators is still in the president and village board, M1.
Yes, responsible only to village board. So the village administrator is responsible only to the village board, not the president and the board, the village board. The
2A.
2A, members of the commission and board shall be appointed by the village board. 2E, the village board shall designate the chair of each commission and board. Okay, next page, plan commission stuff has to be out. Correcting the gender terminologies is out. Conflict of interest is out. Official use of email in village email is out. And then we're going to chapter 2. Tuesday is out. 2.023, the members of all standing committees shall be appointed by the village board is in. June is out. The committee of the whole shall be called to meet at the discretion of the village president. That is included, that deletion, because it's about a transfer of authority. Standing committee is included, that revision that it's the village board. The changes with services committee is out. The pool members shall be appointed by the village board. Is in.
I think it's out actually.
But it says village president subject to village board. So that is in line with all the other changes.
I think the pool committee,
They select
the
their
ordinance
chair.
is
They
the
select their
search.
chair. They don't select the members.
that's true.
Okay. So waterfront, the reason I highlighted waterfront is not that there's actually a change there, but the last time the board made this revision, they waived all 3 readings of the ordinance in one sitting, which is a violation of our policies. So that was just to correct that mistake in the past. The village board on D is in. Standing committees can call board meetings is out. And then 2.033, village board, just swapping president with board is in. And that is it. I will, no, well, that's not the motion. I was clarifying what it is to say to waive the first 2 ordinances. And then I finished with what was written in the agenda, which was just to transfer the authority.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll just say again, the staffing reality and the process of legal review, I just have a real problem with. So we'll just put it that. We're ready to vote on this? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye, raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right, we are at 7B. We skipped 6, correct?
Yep.
We're on 7D7. Approval of Village Finance Director recruitment and administrative staffing needs. Brian Mooney, did you want to speak to this?
So as you may all have heard through me earlier in the week, Julie Fitzgerald, our finance director, was recently selected for a position with a different municipality. Given the urgency in the staffing realm right now within the administrative office, I quickly acted to try to engage Public Administration Associates, a recruitment firm who has done work with the village in the past. And I checked with them on 2 fronts. First, to see if they had any possibilities of an interim finance director for the village that could serve in a temporary role until the time in which we had a full-time finance director secured. Also then to ask them about putting together a proposal for a recruitment or a full-time replacement for Julie. So in the packet in front of you is the outline of that proposal. They give a little outlook as far as how that would be handled, the timeline in which they anticipate a potential recruitment to last. Hopefully we would be able to, with approvals on this, get this back to them tomorrow to take and get started on getting this posted and start their actual efforts and finding somebody to come in. Realistically though, I can't say with certainty whether or not we will have somebody within that timeline. But I think this is an important step. It's a very important position within the village. So I think it's pretty crucial we do this through their assistance.
Okay. Questions for Brian?
What's the cost of their services?
I believe it's around 12,500.
Not to exceed 12,500 is what proposed motion.
And that's is 12,500 we don't currently have budgeted, right?
So
It is, we don't have anything budgeted for that falls into this bucket. I don't remember anything that was there for recruitment or anything else that was budgeted annually. Okay, correct.
All right, we keep our staff.
Yeah.
Carol?
So I will say, it's my understanding that there's some salary savings that can be applied here. And I also want to say that there is no way that Brian can do all of this with all the other work that he has to do. We have to get this work done and get a finance director. And that's my view of the matter.
I left it here for that reason.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, I was just curious.
Shabnam.
We
Thanks for
haven't
that.
always had a finance director. But and sometimes it's treasurer. So I was just wondering, what is the difference between treasurer and finance director?
Well, I'm actually currently both. The treasurer. It depends on what you put as a job description. The treasurer by statute only handles specific things. They take care of taxes. It's very limited what they're required to do. So a finance director does more. They would provide correct reports to the board. They would be, they work with the auditors. It's a lot of times the treasurer is doing finance director things, but the finance director is usually providing additional analysis and review of other items. Honestly, it depends on in some communities, in several communities, you see the clerk and treasurer together, especially small communities. Clerk and treasurer duties are polar opposites. One is more law and language focused. The other is numbers and finance focused. So it's very difficult to find somebody who can do both. And depending on what you have for staff, it depends on what you have for support staff on whether that position can be successful or not. In a small community like this, with a very limited staff, we currently really have no one on our current staff with any accounting background. You really should focus on a finance director. Because you need somebody who can do the whole thing. They're not gonna have any support from staff other than the support that they can direct that staff to do.
One of the driving forces behind changing the job description to a finance director treasurer position over the last year was the incorporation of the village financial model tool with Ellers, trying to get this position more actively involved in having a oversight lead in some of that capacity.
All right, do we need a motion to?
We do, Kate?
I have a clarifying question. So, Brian, in your memo, so are we, you say, I believe adding one additional finance position to the administrative office makes would help alleviate stress. So is this a new position we're discussing, or is it replacing Julie's position?
No, this tonight is just to replace Julie. That is
Okay.
just a separate recommendation
I
that they
see.
have contributing to some of the issues in
Okay,
the village office.
so it's just contextual.
Correct.
Mark?
I'll go ahead and get that motion
Thank you.
going here. So the motion is to accept the proposal from Public Administration Associates LLC for the recruitment of a new finance director / treasurer in the amount not to exceed $12,500.
Or second that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Brian. Further discussion? Ready to vote? All those in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand. That motion carries. Reports of, because we skipped 7D8. So item 8, reports of officials and committees, village president, I have nothing further to add. Village administrator monthly report, see packet. Police chief's monthly report, see packet. Press report not included. Committee reports, any committee related reports anyone wants to share?
Who met?
I agree. Go ahead, Mark.
I just need to refer back to the prior issue for a moment. The proposal calls for a selection committee on the part of the village to interview. Can that issue be put off, or do we need to decide that tonight? So that
think
we
that was
not,
just
I don't want to
to
hold
let
up
you
this
know.
process.
Yeah, no, we can decide, bring that back for a discussion.
Okay.
I can-
There's time. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Yeah, as far as committee reports, the board referred to the finance committee, couple of issues. One was whether to proceed to, there was a referendum proposal, a levy referendum proposal that was put forth by Ellers. It was brought to the finance committee. The finance committee decided not to recommend the board accept that proposal, which was targeted for a levy referendum in the beginning of 27. So just so the board is aware of that. And
Right.
I think that was there anything else, Brian, that in the recommendations, the board did recommend that, sorry, the finance committee did recommend that the board accept the TIDS reporting service proposal, but that was taken off the agenda tonight. But those are the two proposals that came out of the finance committee. So,
Thanks for that update.
Yep.
Brian, did you have something you wanted to add, or?
Am I allowed to amend my own motion? I don't know that I have a problem with the TID discussion from finance committee. I know. Can I put a motion to bring, does anybody want to bring 7.3 back to the table with me? No. Okay.
You could. You have an attorney here and just, it is noticed
It is noticed, it is legal. I would actually, that would, I think that would be okay. But nobody wants to do it.
We also already told the public we weren't gonna deal with it,
Fair point.
and they are gone. Potentially they're gone. So,
Yep.
I think that's a reason not to do it. 8F, everyone saw the incident report for the fire department. We're not doing appointments this evening. Any future agenda items?
So I submitted a future agenda item on agenda setting policy that I put forward. I submitted another one about ice preparations with the village between the police, the board and She's. That was also one. And then there's another one too.
Those were already provided to staff too, right, Brian?
Yes.
So we can capture those on the future agenda list as well.
And then Chapman has two of them as well that were not included. For me.
Any other future agenda items of the board members?
You know, I sent some emails today about why certain information was in this packet. Brian, would you like to address that here?
Say that one more time.
There was an email exchange where I asked why certain resignation letters are included, but other information is not. And I was not allowed to have that discussion on email. So since it is in the packet, would you like to explain to us why one letter of resignation is included, a second one, but not the first? And
So
other,
The first letter, to my recollection, was a formal notice to me to let the board know that the vacancy was occurring. The second notice was addressed to be delivered to the board or the board packet by the departing employee.
I'm sorry.
but we don't have other resignation letters included. So why is it that sometimes they're included and sometimes they're not?
The latest round of departures that we've had, I think it was the two prior we had at the last, is it the last board meeting or two board meetings ago? And so since the ask of late has been to continue with the transparency, that has just been the position of what I have been doing. I fully intend to do the same when we have future departures, so the board has full disclosure of whatever feelings or issues somebody has as they go.
Will the board be getting Taylor's resume? Or is that a
That is
personnel
on my
matter that
to-do.
cannot be shared?
No, it can be, it has to be redacted yet, but it can be shared. It's just lower on the the priority list right now.
Mark and then Brian.
Yeah, the other item that the finance committee needs is a determination by the board that affordable housing is low income housing for the purposes of being able to have a donation between kids.
Yeah.
So
It is.
somewhat related to the other issue, but separate as well.
So without talking too much about it, so we always followed the WIDA language on that previously, so why wouldn't that suffice?
Yeah, I mean, we're not,
Well, we're gonna talk
we
about
can't
it.
do the substance
Right,
now,
Right,
but
okay,
Bill Cole reviewed it
Yeah.
and he came to the conclusion that the board needs to make that determination
okay,
in order to move forward with a potential donation.
Yeah.
By one of the kids to
that's
another
a
kid.
tool in our toolbox, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Brian, then Kate.
Going back to Shabnam's point there for a second about the discussion that we were told we shouldn't have on email. When I was sitting over there instead of here, very much wanted to know what employee it was that submitted the false entries online, right? This is a matter that we open records. And do we still have Bill Cole on is he
No.
still here or is he dropped?
But we can't do the substance of it now anyway.
Right.
So
Okay.
if you want it on
Fair
the
enough, fair
agenda,
enough. Fair enough. So.
Noted down, but we
So-
discussed,
Yeah.
right?
So what I would like to know, that is a matter of high public interest that was done publicly. There was a reprimand that I understand was done verbally, but not written. We've had people ask for a copy of that reprimand. That is something that we, as a body, as a village, are required to give the public. We are not allowed to do that.
Okay, Brian, so you would like that as.
I would like that
future
as an
agenda
agenda item, and
Okay.
that be disclosed.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, I just had a follow-up to Shabnam's question, Brian. So do things in the board packet need to be tied specifically to an agenda item? 'Cause if so, my question is, is the resignation letter tied to a specific topic this evening?
I think it's intrinsically linked to the finance director position and the staffing situation in the administrative office, but I wouldn't say it necessarily is its own agenda topic this evening.
So then that's just a clarifying question then. So can we just put anything in a packet, or does it always have to be tied to a specific agenda item?
Well, I mean, in this case, I take that back. It's two items that were on the agenda tonight. The strategic plan was the other place that it was linked to, because we were talking about enhancing and stabilizing the employee ranks within the village and trying to do whatever we could as a village board to make sure that we improve the working conditions and the retention of village staff.
Rocky, you got something to add to
So
the
for
future
the
agenda?
agenda thing, I mean, what's not being said here, and this is the problem we have, and this is what we gotta talk about, what's put in the packet or not, is the first letter said, I got a job where I can walk across the street to work, essentially, instead of driving for an hour. The second letter said, the whole world's flying off the board, everything's wrong. So we've got two letters that are diametrically opposed to each other. The one that makes everything look like the world's coming apart is the one that's in the packet, and I'm not sure why. The one that says, I got a job where I can walk right across the street and go to work is not in the packet. So somehow we gotta figure out in these packets, because that paints an image.
Yep.
That packet's out there, so that's the one everybody sees. But they don't see the one that says, whoa, I can walk to work.
And also,
See ya.
Gloria's-
You know?
Incomplete.
Thanks for,
Yeah.
no, thanks for
So
making that.
somehow we have to get that in.
And it's not, Katie's position was not the finance director, so I don't see how an admin leaving is related to
Mark,
recruitment for finance.
I know.
Substance again.
We
I
are,
think what they want on the agenda is
Yeah.
the issue of what goes in the packet.
Yeah.
This was
And the board to determine the criteria of the packet.
This is in the packet though. So like Shadnam said, can we talk about the object that was in the packet because it was.
you know, a question was asked, I think the administrator answered it. And so if we feel like we need to have a bigger discussion about this, then we should add it as a formal agenda and notify the public and have that discussion. I'm not opposed to that. Okay. All right, I think are we at adjournment? I'd like a motion for adjournment.
Sure, 1 second. You don't have to leave my meeting minutes on the future agenda items. You know how it says 10A having
And
minutes?
A goes off.
I'm gonna put that into something else, like efficiency operations or something else. It
Okay,
doesn't have to be its own.
okay. You'll get that for,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Mark,
Just to clarify the question about the future agenda items, are we saying those are exempt from the agenda setting policy? In other words, who bears responsibility for briefing these future agenda items and determines when these future agenda items actually appear on an agenda? So I guess my suggestion is when we talk about the agenda policy, as we will, that we also take up the issue of how this future agenda items works into that, who's responsible.
I think they would have to follow the policy.
Yeah, it's just, we just list them and, somebody has to take responsibility for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, just throw it up there. All right,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
thank you, Kate. Is there a second? Oh, that was quick.
Oh, yeah.
We have to vote. All those in favor? Great to see everyone
We're done.
at 9:29.